welcome to the show. You look incredible, like a dessert that owns a yacht.
That's exactly the vibe I was going for. You know, sweet but slightly out of your tax bracket.
Mission accomplished. How does one even shop for a suit when you're...
Help! I've been tossed overboard.
I'll have to bill you extra for my time.
Gold on my neck, gold on my hand, purple with the stripes, that's the walk of a man. Sidewalk shining, city lights humming, every step I take, they know a boss is.
Blazing the whip, gotta vanquish the needs. My kingdom for some poppy seeds, yo.
Police or zombie problems? Your tortoise won't stop breakdancing?
Try blue tape.
The miracle of our age. Yeah!
Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me.
You know what? I talk to your man.
Yo, 100K gone. You thought it stayed quiet, huh? 2G in the chat like. Run that map, 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 run that map. Yeah. You flash fake racks on the timeline. Captain said check it with grind time. 100 bands raised, 100 bands off. You the touch to the halo with a cross. 56K from an angel in the comments. Heart full of faith, you turn to the prophet. Screenshot saved, every promise, every pledge. Bank statement singing when you tweeting off the edge. You ain't built for the smoke, you invited. Try to play God, now the numbers indicted. Seems like razors cut through the myth. Whole squad looking like an organized grift. 56K from a donut thief. 100K gone, it's a stolen dream. Gotta stay dark, but the neck got teeth. Now you mean and you clip, now you caught on stream. That umbrella guy call it out on screen. Yeah, we see you, we see you. You prayed on the pain, turned trauma to a token. Each side story just a tool you were holding. Help the cause, every line pre-written, but the cause was your closet in the car you sitting in. You love weak links, hunt them in the thread. Baby, I care while you strip their bread. 56K from one, that's a life in Ash. Your bar drip, they by time they'll never get back. That means get your face with a clown crown clips on repeat when the lies all fall down. Took a G on the mic, every chart, every slide broke down a breakdown, let the numbers collide. You can't hide from the playback, you can't scrub with the chat track. Every bless you turn backhand, every trust me now backfire. You ain't a boss, you a book, mark, held on the page where the fraud start. Whole damn mark in the thread in the chart, history written in the sidebar remarks. 56K from a donut thief, 100K gone, it's a stolen dream. Better stay dark, but the neck got teeth. Now you mean, now you clip, now you caught on stream. 56K from a donut thief. 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 Run that map, 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 run that map.
What's up, folks? Today we are going to have a great one. We're going to listen to some Some pretty interesting phone conversation. Like I said, for 30 minutes, but I believe it's closer to 40 that we will be listening to. It will be fun too. One thing I want to note before this, though, okay, there is there has been yet another change in YouTube, and this is insane. Okay, this in fact it impacts every creator that you watch. You can't trust your notifications even anymore. So apparently in the new, this came in 2 days ago, by the way, and you'll notice, like, you'll notice every creator that you watch is taking a hit from this. They're testing, quote unquote, improved notifications. All right. So in notifications, say you have all notifications on, like, hey, I love this channel. I want to get every notification. Well, if you don't interact with that channel one time out of that, it won't give you push notifications again. So even if you have all your notifications on channels that you enjoy, it assumes if you don't interact with every single thing that they put up, that you're no longer watching. So any creator that you enjoy, you need to mark them, because across the board, you have creators just throwing fits about it. It's because essentially YouTube wants to become Hollywood 2.0, and they're trying to cater old news media. They're trying to cater to Hollywood celebrities and more. So they push that stuff, but they're finding any reason to kill off just random people that talk about whatever. So if you like any channel out there, you know, anybody, you're going to have to monitor them yourself, despite having push notifications. It's crazy for them to do this, though. But YouTube, you know, take a good platform and basically shove it in the dirt. Isn't it fun? Oh, that's crazy, man. So, and like I said, I thought that was important just for any creator too. It's like I said, it's not just for myself or anyone else, but any creator that you watch or listen to, that will impact them, and it will hit them hard. You know, it's crazy too. I was getting ready for the stream here, and the computer decided, hey, you know what I need to do today? I need to restart real quick. It's 7:03. It starts through all the stupid. I was like, no, no. But thankfully we got in here like we normally do. So if you would tell people we are live and on, like I said, in the last few days, you'll notice every creator, like we've been hit for about 300 or 400 viewers out of everyone, sometimes up to 500. And that's crazy, because a lot of channels, like, we can eat that, but a lot of the channels out there, you know, they can't. they will not survive that. So if you like certain people, man, you better enjoy them. Tonight, what we're going to listen to is, you've heard clips from conversations, and there's been a theme that has been going on lately. It is talking about how money is not donations. I'm sure you've heard this before, of course, but there's been this discussion repeatedly about how $100,000 is somehow doesn't count. Somehow in the bankruptcy hearings, that won't count. They're going to use some kind of crazy excuse. They're going to get around that. And yeah, the only problem is, again, Preston, in throwing Lisa into the dirt, said a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that I'd been waiting for the right time to kind of mention. I thought it would be, fun to, to really just, like I said, throw out there, but only at the right time. Now, when we're talking about this too, I want you to understand, again, that Florida's definition of a fundraiser, this is very important to what we discuss off of this. The fundraiser, the definition, what constitutes a fundraiser when this is talked about. Why is this important, by the way? Because this is money that belongs to Lynette Preston. It doesn't belong to Lisa. And she's tried to make up the weirdest excuses about how to keep it, right? So, definition-wise, And then like I said, we'll listen. I want to tell you what the definition is and what legally constitutes it, the backbone of it. So in Florida, fundraiser, again, any activity where money or items of value are solicited or collected from others for a stated purpose, especially when that purpose is charitable, benevolent, for someone else's benefit, or framed as helping others, relieving hardship, or supporting a cause. So 100% from that definition, that's exactly what you heard. Oh man, we're doing this benevolent thing. It's for somebody else's benefit. We're helping them out. You're supporting a cause, all of those things. Now, with the legal backbone, again, just in plain English, taking out the legalese, there are three things that you need to remember what constitutes a fundraiser. Number one, there has to be solicitation. Now, solicitation, they meet it and then some. Again, asking for donations, posting links, whether it's PayPal, Coffee, Venmo, GoFundMe, whatever. They've posted plenty of different links for this. Live streaming, asking for that. Like going out and begging for the money for live streams. Yeah, that works. Saying certain catchphrases actually includes in there too. Support us, support her, help this family. Those things matter. And here's another catch to solicitation while I was reading. It doesn't matter if it's public. If people are DMing, if they're mailing out, they're including that also counts in there. Comments also count into that. It is all part of solicitation. So when they were putting up, with links and they're talking about it, they definitely met that first criteria, big time. Now, the second criteria out of three is a stated or implied purpose, right? Having your money tied to, say, let's just throw a few out there. There were plenty of different examples, but housing, bills, legal fees, helping a person or a family, saying that it's quote unquote for justice, for quote unquote fighting back, vague causes. When you use vague words, like again, fight back, we're going to do that. That's still fundraising, by the way. So when they're doing it, you have, again, solicitation for a stated or implied purpose. Now, remember implied purpose, that it doesn't have to be, again, the vagary and everything. The implied purpose portion costs or counts. And when they're saying, hey, this is for X, this is for the fence, this is for the barn, this is for Lynette Preston, this is for whatever, that's fundraising. Okay. And then the third thing is that the funds, they have to come from others. So if people are sending you money, that's no longer, you can't say, hey, I'm a creditor. I'm giving gifts. That's another thing that I had to look up on this just to see if there was any weasel room, to try to play that. It's other people's funding. You have no claim. In fact, that can be looked at not just in a negative light, but if you prove that the individual or the lawyer that they intended to mislead a court into thinking someone was somehow a creditor in a bankruptcy, that could be a big no-no. But you can't say, hey, these are gifts from friends anymore if it's money from someone else. And it's no longer informal. Once you take it public, like this is an important thing too. It's not just you and I chit-chatting about something. Once you go forward and start asking for other people to back it. Okay. So now on top of that, you're going to have no disagreement whatsoever. Again, with this, we are going to look at, let's pull this up here. Okay. Now, I don't know how subtitles will be for this, so you will have to listen. I apologize, but that's a lot to subtitle. You know what I mean? Hopefully it will subtitle, but I don't know how the closed caption box here. Let me see if I can blow that up just a little, let me see if I can close that off somewhat. Full screen that sucker up. Yeah. All right, let me lock that in again. Now, again, you can see from this, and we will discuss it as it comes up. Some of it you will have heard. Some of it you will not have heard. But as you notice, this is 42 minutes of a conversation. One of the things I have done, as you will notice, is I have cut off the beginning. Why did I cut off the beginning? Because they like to say this wasn't there wasn't any permission. If you wanna try to say that, fine. Not only, like I said, I live in a one-party state anyway, but if you want to push that button, you can pay thousands of dollars, and then they can listen to it. They can listen to it in court. Yeah. Because, oh well. And this also will 100% definitively prove that this is a conversation with three people involved. And Lynette Preston is absolutely fucking talking to me in this. I've been waiting, like I said, for the right moment for a lot of this stuff. And I think that, well, after hearing about bankruptcy, fraud raisers and all of that wonderful stuff, yeah, you should hear it. So let's bust this up, shall we? Are you guys ready? Because I'm feeling it. Let's do it. Let's hear it. I do not like Lisa Lee. By the way, this is volume. She will get louder. With myself, my voice is where it's at here. I turn, as I've explained before, when this is not the best situation for a recording anyway, the way that the parties were brought together. But for myself, you ever listen to an interview and when somebody's talking, they talk over the other person and you can't understand what the other person is saying? You can turn your input down and you'll notice when Lynette starts to speak, it will drown me out all the way. And that is on like an intentional thing, because if you do that, then you catch everything they say. I hate it when I listen to, if I want to turn my input up later on, I can, but I don't want to turn my input up and drown her out. So you never know in these conversations. We had a delay too. You can see that a couple of times just because it wasn't talking on the phone like directly. Again, she wanted an intermediary to reach out and talk to me. She put this together. She had Tina reach out. It's amazing. She's like, oh, they were playing Lynetto. Lynette asked for this. So yeah. And she asked after it failed once, she asked again. So let's check this out together. Like, I wanted you to understand why that input is low. She made this stuff personal with me. And I am 100% committed. If you want to get your money back, I'm 100% down with the cause. Oh, come on. Don't you lag. Look at this crap. Here we go.
Well, even if we never get it back because it's gone or whatever, I want.
God, you have to be kidding me, you fucking piece of garbage. We'll give it a second. Let's see. Give me 1 minute. I have an idea. What I can do is maybe I can turn the quality to auto because it's there. I had it loaded up really good. And this stupid thing, like I said, I got forced into a restart with my computer. And when it does, it wants to reload everything. You're like, are you kidding me? All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's get her comment there again.
I want something to happen to her because not only did she keep the donations, but she is...
Now, you notice that word right there. Not only did she keep the donations, you did catch her use that word, right? Donations. So Lynette Preston will utilize that word often. They are. That's exactly what they are. They are donations.
Lying through her teeth, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore. I'm just not. I've proven 100% why the permit ended, when it ended, and she knows that. She absolutely knows it, and it's just making me angry.
Well, we have, so David, I'll just call him David the donor. He did reach out to me. In fact, I had an email from him, which I'm going to read to you, okay? And I think this actually makes your case here because I think David. So this is the David the Donor letter, by the way. I present it to her. Now, you notice we are talking, right? We are actually communicating. Like I said, I've loved it. I've let them do denials because I wanted Preston to deny that this was real. I've wanted this from go. I wanted her to pretend and try to win these people over, pretending that none of this is real. You know, lie to them a lot. That way, you know, when it comes out, all of it, that, yeah, whoopsie. David's difficult to listen to her yelling, by the way, sometimes, but I think he's willing. Lisa has pushed him so much. Did you catch her scream, by the way? I'm on the phone. That is also, let's just say, not to John, because John is out. You know, she's sneaking it away from John. So, well, process of elimination. Yep. I think he's willing to talk about everything. So I'm going to read you this email, okay? I'm going to read you parts of it because I think this makes your case for you with this to law enforcement. He says, all the money okay, here we go. All the money I sent, you've all seen my post about individual donations via PayPal, which I do have that, by the way. I have everything laid out, was for the Preston family, specifically the child in need. None of it was for Lisa Lee. I repeat, none. What I have witnessed is disgraceful. She, Lisa Lee, is greedy and disgusting, and I have no idea why she is holding back Preston's money. For the avoidance of doubt, the money I sent is not for her. Talking about Lisa. She needs to pass the money on to the Preston family with a full set of accounts showing total donations, less expenditure with receipts. And he goes on from there. There's about 7 paragraphs. And that's straight up. This is a guy that gave you, I looked through the numbers. He gave $56,000 for sure. That is a legit number.
See, when John and I asked Lisa over and over, can you please tell us how much money was donated? I'm getting emotional. I don't normally do that.
It's okay, Michelle. Let it out, honey. Let it out. He's not going to judge you.
Hey, see, you hear you notice that there. You have Tina come in. Remember, their excuse, by the way, for this whole thing is that this is Tina and Michelle talking, and I'm somehow just there listening in, right? But you notice that statement, you let it all out. He's not going to judge you unless there's some mythical he, if we're talking about God or something else, they're talking about me. You know, there's a third party being referenced there. So all their excuses and all their bullshit, like I said, why is that important? Because they lie. They lie to themselves. They lie to every one of them. If they get cornered, you know, they all went their own separate ways and they all started trying to sell each other out. And when that doesn't work out, then they try something different. But, you know, they try the blame game. Like for this, they can't decide if they want to tell you this is a real conversation. And they keep saying it's third-party violations for Jeremy because reasons. So you're the dumbest people ever. Yeah, Michelle reaching out to me somehow impacts Hale. What an idiot. Here we continue.
He told us that it was none of our business, that it was better that we don't know. So that, I don't know why she didn't want us to know, but she said it was better that we do not know. And we asked her over and over. When Christmas hit and she started doing the Christmas for Harley, we talked to her about, you know, we really need to get this done. The next project is framing. If we don't get the framing done, the permit's going to expire and we're going to have to start over. And she said, well, let's get through Christmas.
Now, the permit thing is an interesting conversation, too. Why is that? Because all of this, it states that Lisa kept the money. It's still, she's making it clear that, again, this is money that is supposed to be used for a stated purpose or goal. They can't just go in and start spending it now, by the way. Like that would be a real problem. They can't, after they've gone into the bankruptcy and done all of this, they can't, you know, if that money's sitting around, then the bankruptcy is going to take it. And if that money doesn't exist anymore, then they're going to have real problems. And when they do this, by the way, you know, their math that this ad lib math, as it were, you know, where they pretend that only certain amounts count for certain things, that's going to be a problem. Because again, remember, all of the money was collected within this very short time frame. It was all for these people. It wasn't just stated that it was for a barn or for a fence. It was also stated that it was for LP and it was for HG. You know, so that's important too. That's going to be very important. Again, she is going to be the reason that Lisa has problems. They're trying to keep each other all close now because you see what happens if you let Michelle stray out a little bit. Michelle is probably the one that, again, they're as long as they don't end up in jail, they don't care. I very much get that from the ecosystem. They don't give a shit, you know, as long as it's Michelle that pays. But let's continue.
We got through Christmas. Then she said, well, New Year's is here. Let's get through New Year's. She said, I've got somebody to do it. I'll have him get a hold of you. We waited and waited. And I have several devices here that I've taken screenshots on. But my baby likes to rip the cords out of stuff. So she makes it hard for us to charge things. So
this is the same excuse, by the way, that they utilize for not having Jeremy Hale's proof. You know, they were like, well, we have different devices, and those different devices, you know, they get broken. Now, I don't remember if she stated that the baby did those specifically before, but it's the same type of excuse. Well, I kept all of my proof, all of this stuff, all the proof about other people. I kept it on my other device. What happened to your other device? Much like the dog ate it, or, you know, left it out in the rain. Now I suppose it's, yeah, I suppose it's my baby destroyed it. All right, continue.
So I'm trying to get these things running so I can get the screenshots and print them. I begged her with words that said, I am on my knees with my heart in my hand. Please don't let our permit wear out. Please get this guy to do it. She said, I've got it. Don't worry about it. So we gave our plans, the blueprints, to some guy that asked us, came and got him. Supposedly it was her friend, an islander.
So supposedly it was her friend. And now again, you notice an all too common statement about these folks. They're utilizing their pals. They're essentially they're keeping the money. She's saying they won't tell her how much money they've raised. They will not disclose anything at all. Why? They said it was for her own good. Now, remember, this is before any bankruptcy or anything like that. They're hiding the amount from even her. And when they're bringing in contractors and stuff, according to Lynette Preston, they're keeping that work close to them. Because how do you ever, if you don't know how much money there is, and then you don't know how much money's being charged, you don't know what the cost of something should be. Yeah, that sounds pretty damn questionable. That sounds pretty, what's that word? Scammy, doesn't it? Let's continue.
We gave them to him. 2 weeks later, the plans were back on our fence, and he said, I can't do it. So, okay, she didn't have anyone to do it. John found a Mexican crew. I don't mean to make the Mexican a thing.
Remember when they threw that fit about the Mexican crew, by the way? They were like, oh my God. Remember when they called Lynette a racist? This is one of my favorite things because Lynette and all them pretending to be pals now. Remember they called her a racist while they were talking about all the Mexicans and Alligator Alley and all that stuff. But they did. They said, oh, she used Mexican here. You know, she talks about Mexicans. She's a racist. So I guess you just eat that one, right, Lynette? I guess the people that said all of these things to multiple people, thousands of people, I guess they're your good guys, right? Fun times.
He found a Mexican crew that said they would do it for $10,000. We told Lisa, we have a crew. They'll do it. The weekend, it's done. Pay them. We're good. No. I've got somebody to do it. That's too much money. That'll leave you with nothing. We're like, please, will you just let them do it? Please, just at least the framing will be done. We get another 180 days. Let's just do it. Nope, not going to do it. She refused. So then I found a construction company. Anybody can.
So with their own money, like again, how is this not a problem? With their own money, they requested that a specific group be hired. It's their money. Ultimately, even if you think that's the stupidest thing in the world, it's still their money. If they want to go out and hire, Bozo Show the crew, then they absolutely can. Again, we have seen people locked up under less than this. Absolutely. I think this stuff is just it's a wonderful tell-all. It's a tell-all about how they were refused repeatedly access to money. And this money now, if they here, Lynette, let me note this too. You'll probably lose all of that money in bankruptcy court. If you'd have went my way, you might have actually gotten some money out of it. Yep. I propose them plenty of method there. And who knows? Like I said, who knows? Maybe it would have worked out better there. But instead, you're going to try to pretend to kumbaya with these people that absolutely hate you. It's and you hate too. Remember, you want to stick around for the end of this as well, because what this will do at the end of it, you'll have the conversation go back and forth where we're talking, but at the end, you'll have, the closing thing. Hey, you got any questions for me? And she'll respond throughout this whole thing. And it's very clear that she is talking to me. These people, what they do is they're hoping that people that listen to them, they will never, ever seek out the conversation and listen to any of it, because if they do, holy crap. Let's continue.
Vet it, called Thicket Construction. They're in Chiefland. I called him. I talked to him. I said, can you help us? He said, ma'am, it'll be way too expensive. I build brand new homes, but I'm willing to be a consultant. And if you guys want to build yourself, I'll help you. I'll tell you what you need to do, what material you need, but it's $250 an hour. So I gave that information to Lisa. She said, no, nothing. Nope, not going to do it. She had somebody. That was it. The permit date came.
I would have liked to follow up, but I didn't think about asking this at the time. Now think about this in the aftermath. She said that she had someone. Is it the same someone that came and picked up everything, the blueprints, and then left them on your fence and said they couldn't do it? See, either there is a disconnect in the story here, or B, I go back to she's getting played, because that's run around. I've got a guy. Well, your guy says that he won't do it. Well, I've got a guy. Well, your guy says he won't do it. You see what I mean? And then the permits expire, and then the money, well, it doesn't move. It gave her a ready-made excuse because, well, that's Lynette Preston. And ultimately, I cannot believe that Levy County didn't do something about this when reported, because it doesn't fucking matter if the fundraiser, if they've halted anything and they're blaming Lynette Preston. The permits cost $2,500. The fundraising was for the barn dominium. It wasn't explicitly for framing or, insulation or whatever you want to throw in. It was for the barn dominium, because if it was for specific things like, I don't know, framing, then why did we have an island bought? Why were there water heaters? Why were toilets added into the mix? You know what I mean? Yeah, if it's only for a specific commodity. I'm sorry, I couldn't help that. Commodity, it's so dumb. Oh my God. Between that and mobility scooter jousting. By the way, I haven't heard of anybody taking me up on my offer, but I will throw this out there again as we continue this. I have a proposition. I know that Marla has trouble getting around and she's just got her hate on, so I offered yesterday and I will offer again today that we will meet her where she is, as in we will go out in front of the property where she says that she likes to fish. We won't even make her get off the mobility scooter. We will do mobility scooter jousting. That's right. So we will meet her exactly where she is. We will joust for the rights, the fishing rights in Otter Creek. Doesn't that sound amazing? We could fundraise for it. I mean, it'd be so much fun. I mean, honestly, that's my sport, by the way. I've come up with that first. So no, they may not steal it. It is mine. But anyway, I think that's important. We even came up with a wonderful logo. I'm going to show this to you and then we'll continue. I love the mobility scooter jousting thing. Check this out. I do love it. Yeah. And this is not, I mean, seriously, when people are like, I can't throw down, I'm on a mobility. Look, I'll meet you where you live. I'll mount up. We'll throw it down just like that. It'd be amazing. It will be amazing. Man, I was on fire last night. You know what's interesting, by the way? I'm locking that thing back in, by the way. But you know what's really interesting is the fact that I have gone 4 days without that blood pressure stuff. My blood pressure is returning to a normal rate, by the way. It is finally returning to a normal rate. But I have not taken that other to stop low blood pressure. Now we'll see in a couple of days if that is if that has to go back in. But God, I hope not. Because I think with ear ringing and all of that, I think a lot of that comes from those medications too. But anyway, let's go. Here we go.
Came. I said, Lisa, please. And the permit expired. Well, then I begged Levy County. I said, Bo at Levy County, I said, please give us our permit back. I gave Lisa his information. Lisa told me she called him and that she talked to Bo at Levy County permitting and zoning and that he told her, don't worry about it. You've got all the time in the world. No worries. It's a lie. She never spoke to him.
Okay, so the allegation there. So she's saying, again, that as the permits were expiring, she was reaching out to Levy County and being like, look, come on, we have this. What are we supposed to do with that? And she notes it to Lisa. She's like, hey, this is going to expire. So Lisa says that she reaches out to Levy County, to this person over in Levy County about it, and is like, hey, it's no problem. You've got all the time in the world. Which is absolutely not true. These things are on a time limit, a deadline. Otherwise, if you don't understand the whole permit thing, you have X amount of time to put in what they were saying before, their blueprints. And if not, then they have to go back to the drawing board. They have to redo everything. So they had so much time, and they had plenty of time when the money was raised. So with Lisa blaming Preston for not getting those permits, that's absolutely not true. If they would have started working on this stuff, they would have gotten it going, then Preston wouldn't be where but Preston's too dumb to understand that these people, she thinks they're the lesser of the two evils, as it were. Everybody out there is an evil. And if she joins up with them, maybe she can still win. Well, she's going to lose all that money. She also, I mean, ultimately, these people, any of them that help, they have a very short memory about how they were told that Preston is a fraud and a liar and a piece of trash, and that Lisa worries about her child. I mean, all of this stuff, you know, with Preston. So anybody that gives money after that, man, you have to question them. She lost a lot of support there. But let's continue.
So I told her, Bo got back with me, and he said I talked to the Bronson board. So this was a board meeting. Again, can be vetted. The board decided to allow him to offer us back the permit if we hired an engineer. So he gave me a list. I went through the list. I only found one that was willing to work with us. His name is, I don't want to give it. I will if I have to. It might upset him. But his name is Michael. And he said, no problem. It's $2,500. I'll do all of your inspections. I'll do what Bo wants. I know him very well. We'll work together. We'll get this done. So we gave Lisa that information. And again, I begged her. My heart is in my hands. Please, please pay him. Call him. So she called Mr. W one time. He called her back because she got his voicemail. He called her back. He got her voicemail, and then nothing.
By the way, from what I understand, the number that she's given, that is like a Google Voice. It's not an actual number. So they had, I mean, you think about this whole scenario. Lips has her number and can text her directly, right? These people have her number, but Leslie can. But when LP wants that, they won't give it to her. These people took that much money from her and would not even give her a contact phone number that would directly allow them to speak. Now, again, I can understand the why, because Lynette Preston will turn on you sooner or later, no matter what. But these people, again, Lynette Preston, remember, she can do no wrong. She's the greatest thing since sliced bread, you know? So why in the beginning? Why through that? Also, why wouldn't Bruce? I'm sure Bruce had her number. Why wouldn't Bruce give that number so they could? I mean, you know, you got all these people that are involved, and what I'm trying to understand, is it their place? Maybe. You know, I mean, they're all in there. She says, by the way, that Bruce brought Lisa in to quote unquote tell her side of the story, you know, to PR with that thing. But yeah, she'll say that in this, by the way, too. But why aren't any of them stepping up? Why didn't any of them? You know, it's like in the hierarchy of this stuff, certain people are more important even than Preston. And that, to me, that's an interesting thing. I mean, because you're talking about, you know, again, a movement that's supposedly Preston based, and yet Preston, they'll bring her up when it's convenient, when they think it's lucrative, or they think they can, you know, pull a story out of it potentially. But any other time, you know, like I said, I think this stuff is really, really interesting the way it comes together. Let's continue.
And he calls, and she didn't call him back. And we all of a sudden start hearing that I am an ungrateful, evil person who didn't have any thoughtfulness or thankfulness or whatever for anything she did. And that I was cutting her down online, and that trolls told her that. And
actually, she didn't say trolls told her that, by the way, just to make that clear, too. She said that people that she was friendly with told her that, you know, multiple people around that was there. So, again, you see how Lynette Preston acts, how she flip-flops. Now, she did tell Tina at one time that this would all be an act and that she would get along with her until after the Ohio hearing. So after the Ohio hearing, then she would continue to go after her. But I do wonder now, with everything that's kind of blown up in her face these days. You know, she's been over in the 2L chat crying about how, you know, that by the way, they've been saying there was no bankruptcy laws, despite the fact that, again, these people, they went after Hale's and the state court because of the bankruptcy. They said that the bankruptcy, that the court had talked about it and made a ruling, and that was unjust. You know, the court had called it a fraudulent filing that they pulled in state court, and said that there was an entitlement to sanctions after the bankruptcy. So the loss is not just in that, but again, remember the language of all of that says they fully expect Lynette Preston not to be able to discharge that sanction. And if that's not dischargeable, then all the stuff they've been talking about dischargeable, that ain't going to happen either. That is one hell of a loss when you think about it, because that means that everything they're doing in bankruptcy, there's no reason for it other than to delay the case, you know. But with Fed 2, again, we'll see what Fed 2 does. Like I said, Fed 2, if it goes forward, cool. If it doesn't, man, that's an expensive case. You know, you can go back and get these people many different ways, and it doesn't have to be in a giant collective. So either way, but the bankruptcy is an absolute mess. Let's continue here too. Yeah, you know, Matilda. What's funny with Lynette, when she speaks to, she is always the victim of everyone else. It doesn't matter. You notice she's blamed everyone. Like, she reached out to me, talks to me about this stuff, and yet at the same time, all these jackasses are like, oh, they're going to sue over her and HG and this. You don't get that. You actually don't get that. We talk about the kid in this stuff. You know? 100%. I've told her, you know, I brought up the red flag thing for John. I actually bring it up in this conversation because it worries me. And she says, oh, he's not that kind of a, and blames the weird thing too. And we'll get to this, is she blames the Grangers. She blames Carice Granger for statements about Cook. And I was like, no, first of all, Lynette made her own statements, and that message that she sent to Shara, that had nothing to do with the Grangers whatsoever. But I digress. Let's continue.
And I said, Lisa, for the love of God, you sound like Shara. You're doing it. You're saying exactly what Shara said. The trolls told you I'm talking shit about you, therefore I am.
That's actually not what happened with Shara either. Shara said that she didn't want to be abused by this woman anymore because this woman likes to yell at people and scream at people. She is very unfriendly and uncouth. So
that's a lie. I haven't said a word about you. We loved you. My little girl loves you.
Michelle, have you? Michelle, have you ever thought that all of that was planned? Because she never turned a dime over to you, ma'am. Did you notice this? Okay, look, you can tell, like, again, here too, like any of these items here, when there's speech, you can hear her come in lower. You can see her stop, and she'll respond to me again. But she really doesn't. The end of this will really lay any of their stupid narrative about, oh my God, there was no communication to rest. But you can hear it too, like in here. You can hear me go to speak, and like I said, it'll come in lower than her, but she'll stop. I'll ask her this question, and then she'll respond.
Hi, I haven't said a word about you. We loved you. My little girl loves you.
Michelle, Michelle, have you ever thought that all of that was planned? Because she never turned a dime over to you, ma'am. She needed a reason. Ultimately, I think, again, when I say these numbers, I'm not saying this for, you know, we're not on air.
I've thought the exact same thing.
Oh, she's talking to me there too. Oh, by the way, I'm going to put this out in the world too. When I spoke to her, typically I have headphones on, but this is a business thing, and I don't trust Michelle Preston. And I knew sooner or later that she would come out with some crazy fucking statement. So Tina, listen. But I also had a person on my side of it that listened to the conversation too. So I had somebody in the room with me. I made sure that they took notes. I made sure that they listened. And I made sure that they noted everything we would need. Because if it was all good faith, then I would be able, and I'm not going to say who, but I made sure that we had everything. Because again, what she has ultimately done is she's not reaching out just to me. She's reaching out to myself, to Megan. Megan is not the party, by the way. I'm talking about an actual in real life person. But when she's doing that, she's reaching out to a group of people for help. And she absolutely knows that. You know, this right here, this is get out of lawsuit free material, not just for myself, Megan Fox too, because you can't reach out and ask for things like this. But I had somebody, you know, also, because like I said, I don't trust these people. I don't trust them as far. That's why I record them. It's not just for, you know, this was not initially ever going to be publicly disseminated. If it was, we would have did that, you know, the week that it happened, but it sat around for a long time. But ultimately, Michelle Preston does what Michelle Preston does. She turns on everybody. So, you know, no loss either way. But, well, what a crazy lady, man. I think she took $100,000 from you, ma'am. I really do. Because I know David gave $56,000. There was another person that they mentioned, I think on accident, but I think there was another $20,000. I've talked to people that have given thousands more. That right there, I believe they gave, I think you had over $100,000 given in donations.
Right, and I don't know about numbers at all. I do know that my friend Patty,
so they bring Patty Plummer into this, interestingly, you know, Patty Plummer. So she does bring up Patty giving money, just to know.
Gave a little bit of money. I know she bought a lot of the cards. Now, I know the fence was paid for. I have the receipt. I know how much the fence was.
She was talking about gift cards. So she's saying that Patty Plummer is one of the people that bought a large amount of the gift cards for the fence. So that's how it ended up getting paid, just to note. Now here, she's talking about the fence, and she's stating point blank. And we also have, again, on top of this subject, we also, because with Tina, you know, again, Lynette was more than happy to run these people into the ground until she thought she would use or, you know, need them later on. Then it becomes something different. But in the moment, you know, if you look or watch and listen to what she does, so like listen to this, and then I'll show you a text that backs up this statement too.
I know how it was paid for, and Lisa, when she says she added her own money, she didn't add shit. Oh. Sorry for my bad language. Hey, she didn't add nothing.
So Lisa cannot be a creditor. Lisa, she didn't add anything. She added her own money. She didn't add shit. Oh, wow. That's interesting, isn't that? So I thought Lisa was a creditor because she was adding her own money. Well, according to Lynette Preston, she, quote unquote, didn't add shit. So she didn't reach into her own pocket to help these people out at all. This was all solicited. Again, remember the definition for fundraiser that we went over. Solicitation, a stated or implied purpose, funds coming from others. That's a fundraiser, and it sure as shit does not make you a creditor in a bankruptcy. Whoopsie, Lynette called her out on it. And now again, they want to damage control later on. Hey, this, by the way, I absolutely made available to the courts, and I will absolutely testify to the authenticity of it. And I will turn it over for expert review or anything like that. I will also show them how exactly that put together. I still have the Google Voice account. I have the text messages where she sets it up. Again, it's all legit. And she's the one that, the real kicker to this, again, she hated them enough. You have to put this in. I didn't make contact with her. She made contact with me. She reached out through somebody, and she's telling people, oh, I've got to hide this from this person or that person. She wanted Lisa burned so badly that she went behind everyone, behind Bruce, behind John Cook, behind, of course, the entire ecosystem to set fire to her because, well, I mean, you remember how it went.
That fence was paid with Lowe's cards, 100%.
Yeah, the fence was paid with Lowe card. Oh.
And we know because, like I said, we have the receipt, and John was involved in the paying for it with the cards.
So even if they try to play in the back end of this, we never said that. Well, first of all, they said it here, and I'm going to show you a receipt. I want to add this into the fray. Just a note. There's also this little dilly right here. Here's communication from Lynette Preston. This is to Tina, where she's talking about the donations. You can see when this is coming up, everything, you're talking about 2025 here. So by the time this rolls around, the fence is already long done. You're still waiting on the barn. It's rolling up closer to a year here. And Lynette is mad at these people, but she's like, I watched whatever. Someone broke down most of the donations, and it sounds like the fence was paid for 4 different times. But more importantly, her quotes about getting the barn dominium completed. So you can see the conversation here. Lynette pops in. She's like, well, we have receipts for the fence. We know exactly what it cost. We ordered it. She paid for it in person at the store using Lowe's cards. Oh, well, that's interesting. Huh? The panels, so there were 58 each. So each panel that is out there, she's saying each one of those costs $58. So if anybody is interested and wants to quickly figure out the actual cost to everything, all you've got to do is look at how much paneling was there, put in their cost, add a little bit of tax, and add on some incidentals, plus add on stain that never arrived. Let's add that in too, because remember there was $1,000 for stain that never arrived on there. But $58 each, and I'll have to count them because I forgot how many there were. He has to stop lying about stuff. He just has to, cause we know what the fence, it's supposed to be she, I believe. So either that or she knows something about Lisa we don't, quote unquote he. I could buy that too. I've listened to Lisa speak before, and well, I definitely could believe that as well. I mean, seriously. Hey, I gotta grab something. Give me 1 second. I gotta grab a drink. Give me a minute. I forgot my drink. I'm just walking across the room, okay? Not a big deal. Now I'm coming back. All right. Sorry about that. I forgot one of my drinks over here. I had a not good for me drink, but I needed more water. So, water, definitely. But, just has to know, we know what the fence cost, so I don't have any worries or whatever about the fence and what was paid for it at all. So you have that. Either that or they're talking about, someone else. I'm not sure. That'll be a question for Tina. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll ask Tina, That'd be an interesting conversation, follow up. So let's continue with the discussion here. Here we go.
Do
you have receipts for any of this? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm just going to ask for my own. Do you have receipts?
We have the receipt for the fence. That's all we have. All right. It should be in the Jeep glove box.
So look, they're telling you, and they're going to try to ghost this in the aftermath. They're going to try to pretend that they don't have it. But she stated point blank that she does have receipt proof that this happened. So she has proof that Lisa didn't pay. Remember when they were talking about this insane price for the fence? And then even when they came back and they quoted $5,000 for the fence, I bet you the $5,000 total includes the $1,000 for the stain that never arrived. I bet you that's part of it too. You know, just to throw that in there. But it's amazing because she's noting, oh, we have receipts. Yeah, well, that'll be fun when you get asked about those, because if you deny and say, no, I've never had any of that stuff, again, she tells you she never lies. So we'll see. Should collect all of that stuff and put it, scan it, take pictures, whatever. If again, if you put it together, if you don't have a place to keep it, I keep drop boxes. I can open up a drop box for myself and yourself, or you can put them in. What you need to do, again, I
By the way,
she may have taken all your money. And we did put together a drop box too. Part of what was in the drop box, just letting Lisa know, and it will be discussed in here. She asked for the information about her hubby because she's going after him. See, I like that too. I like the fact that they all tried to put each other in jail. You have Lynette Preston reportedly going after Gabe's PO. I mean, all this wonderful stuff. And yet they all pretend that none of this stuff happened. It's amazing to me. They have to truly hate each other behind the scenes. Spin it now. I don't know. But what we need to do is find out how much money there is. And you don't just have a case, man. You have a criminal case. These people are scammers. Gabe, he is a convicted scammer. Richard Luthman is a convicted fraud, extortionist, blackmailer, scammer. These are public documents, ma'am. And
yeah,
I think you have a case with the people that have surrounded your money. See, I think personally, like you and I have never spoken, but I think personally that these people, I think they have misled you, and I think they have used your name to make a lot of money. And I feel bad for you in that. I really do. I think.
Well, I will tell you. I'll tell you this. I can't say anything for John. I can say for me. I do not agree, have never agreed, and will never agree that calling names and belittling and humiliating people back, even though it's happening to us, is right. I am totally a Christian. Even I cuss, but life's been hard lately. I don't believe in that. I've never been more angry and upset as when all this team teeth and all this crap started and all these horrible things. If anybody realizes and noticed.
You know what's amazing about this portion of the discussion? And again, when we're talking, you have to realize, like I said, you will not hear me agree with the person, but you don't argue with people when you interview them. The one thing, though, that they don't bring up, again, they were posting about offing some, they were talking about having John's prison buddies follow somebody and do horrible things. Behind the scenes, talking about, offing a person and feeding them to alligators. I mean, crazy, crazy stuff. But, being, again, you respond. And what's really interesting about this statement here, at first I thought, this is about Jeremy Hales, right? No, this is actually, if you listen to how it rolls forward, she's talking about Lisa and those people making fun of her. So I was kind of surprised by that. I was taken aback. I was like, man, this is going to go, because part of the agreement here was this is not a discussion about Hales. And she should be glad about that too, because if this is a discussion about Hales, then this would definitely be a violation of a protective order. But that's not what this is about. This was about Lisa. This specific conversation is totally about Lisa. Now, she'll bring up other people in it, but the point in here, beforehand, so when Tina talked to her, she noted, she was like, you guys are not going to you're not going to convince that umbrella guy, and win him over and have him, suddenly become some backer for you. But as far as Lisa's concerned, and I still go with this, I believe they were defrauded. Now it doesn't matter. She's in her bankruptcy mess. It doesn't even matter. They allowed her to go that route very stupidly. But I digress. With that, part of the discussion, though, was I'm not going to argue logistics of a case because it'll get nowhere. I can either have a lengthy and I believe fruitful conversation. In fact, she'll bring up in here too. She was informed about, it'll bring up how to use an IC3 report. But at the time, she still hadn't done it, even though she had been told how to do that. Again, what's amazing about it is if you listen to this too, she makes it like, oh, other people, like that mean old Tina. She's the one who misled me. She used me. And it's like, you are kidding. You manipulative piece of trash. You sit around how long and talk that shit about how many people? That's so amazing. Here, let's continue.
I've been out of this for about 6-7 months. I haven't been on her show. I haven't been
So that insult stuff was actually about her because she's like, it's so hurtful, it's stuff. And I haven't been around for 6 months. I haven't been on her show. So it goes into talking about, again, Lisa. I was like, that's interesting. Because she's talking about, remember at the moment, you have to remember the surroundings there. And she'll say in this, and I think this is very impactful. She says that she believes that Lisa has hurt her more than her quote unquote stalker. That's how she talks about Jeremy Hales. She always refers in everything, you'll notice, that way. But she said Lisa has damaged her more than. And that is a wild statement when you think about it. That also would be a very wild in court statement when you think about it too.
Watched a couple times. I have corrected her in some things that she said until she blocked me.
Right.
Because I was correcting her lies, and she didn't like it.
Sure.
I'm not, and I'm not.
She's noting here too. I was blocked. I was out here. I was being talked about in these streams, and we remember we watched it live. Like I said, the reason that this is so important to bring up and to really hammer it there is because they want to play it up like that didn't ever happen, or it's just some minor tiff. Again, a minor tiff is like a disagreement. Online, you get those. You sometimes get major tiffs, but you know what people don't do? They don't try to put each other in prison behind it. That is another level of something, You don't call the police and say, hey, this person robbed me. Either you're a liar, and you just made that stuff up for revenge, or there's a real problem. And for some reason you want to play like never happened.
No, we said we're not going to say anything. And I'm just going to tell you, I am not the person that you've been led to believe I am at all. And that's the only thing I'm going to say.
Well, ma'am, I said, I believe firmly that Lisa Lee, out of any other case, I believe firmly that Lisa Lee has done you wrong. And I believe you like that redirect there, by the way. You could see that this is a learning lesson about conversations here too. I'm losing her right there because she's wanting to go off about Jeremy Hales. And again, you might be like, well, that'd be a great time to ask questions. Yeah. And if you ask her something, she's just going to stop talking. That's going to happen. It's going to get disconnected. So bring her in. Oh, I'm not the person you live. Well, I very much, out of everything, I do believe that Lisa Lee has done you wrong. Because I do. I absolutely do. Regardless. I don't think that makes her a nice person or anything, but I do believe that she has been manipulated and vilified to the very people that she thought backed her. That you have scammers. I think you have a lot of them, ma'am. I honestly, with cases and stuff, again, we won't talk about that because I don't think you'll agree with me, but I think you are in a bad situation, ma'am. And I think these people are going to screw you
from
over.
the beginning.
Yeah.
From
Well,
the absolute beginning, whether no matter who believes what or not, from the beginning, we have been used for people to make money. That's it.
But look, let's keep it to October and forward.
Well,
And it ain't just October. It's she knew about this stuff in September when we met her.
Okay.
And Bruce brought her in just to share our side of everything, because I do believe
when we met her. Now, I thought that was an interesting wording, because it's always been stated that they had never, back then they had never, quote unquote, met. And yet the wording there, if you listen to how that's stated, that sounds like a meeting. That does not sound like a, hey, I bumped into you here online, does it? It sounds like, hey, the first time that we actually, because remember, by the time this conversation takes place, they had absolutely met in real life, with the fence mess, Christmas mess, all of that shit. But back when they try to sell it like it's an A, B, or C, it's just fascinating, because also what you're being told here is that while all this other stuff is going on, that they're recruiting people and bringing them into this fray. It's really interesting to see the layout, and again, I trust none of these people to tell me a complete truth either. That's another problem with it. They're all going to tell something that is beneficial for themselves. They're definitely not going to, throw themselves under any bus.
he wanted to get his thing out, his story, which I discharged Bruce. I discharged him and his wife, but I will, and I don't. There's been a lot of things between Bruce and I, and I'm going to leave it at that.
There's been a lot of things between Bruce and I. Again, Bruce, you got this lady. You should hear some of this stuff, Bruce. That again, I've been somewhat careful in stating, because it's not my story to tell, but I think by now, Tina's probably ready to go gloves off. We've had 2 conversations, and during that point, they had an entire live stream last week where they just dumped on her, did all this nastiness toward her, and I'm like, man, I bet you by now, she's absolutely ready to talk about all of this other crazy.
But I do need Bruce at the moment. I cannot write these motions by myself, and unfortunately, I need the help that he's giving me.
I cannot write these motions by myself, Bruce. This is after you had been discharged, by the way. You were writing her motions, man. Oh, Lordy. This is a first conversation. What's amazing about that? This is a very first time you talk to a person, and the people, again, these are all, it'd be like this. If you talk to me about, especially, I can't imagine putting on a facade and pretending that I'm really good pals with anybody. I mean, you see how YouTube works, right? But like Megan Fox, I consider her a friend. There would be no way in hell that I would sit down and shovel dirt on her name, and especially I wouldn't do this to a long time person that I'd known, but I especially would not do that with somebody you just had talked to, and somebody publicly, by the way, that you were stating that you hate and all these other things too. She said quite a few terrible things. That's why, with this conversation, like I said, it's very important with it, just for myself, when she made this happen, she threw away any. If she ever tries to take me to court, tries, or like I said, they wanted to say they were going to bring a lawsuit with HG attached. They're going to try that shit. When her guardian reaches out to me and asks me to do stuff on that, and we end up talking about how Lisa actually, again, I wanted to play this also in context because you'll hear her bring up the fact that Lisa had contacted CPS. They were like, she never said that, dude. It's right here in this fucking audio.
But I'm directing things on my own.
Well, can I ask you?
I'm putting out what I need to put out.
Can I ask you one thing on that? Have you talked to a lawyer that is outside of this ring of people? Because you need to. You need to, because I think now
we can't get a lawyer to touch this.
You can do a free consultation. You can do a free consultation with someone. And here's the thing. The reason I ask that is because I think that just again, when you lay out everything, I don't think some of the things that are being done are the best for you. I think that you're going to look, I am trying to. This is the thing too. When these people, they say you work for this person or you do that, there's that. Look, I'm trying to tell her, look, the way things are going, this is before all this bankruptcy nonsense is going into full effect. I'm telling her, I'm like, look, this stuff is not good for you, ma'am. You need to talk to a lawyer outside of this, not to recruit a lawyer, but to get some real legal advice. If somebody reaches out to you and after a minute, when you go down so many roads, again, nothing, all this stuff, what's happening here, she's going to have nothing at the end of it. How is this, Michelle, how in the world is this positive for you? How have these people done you a service? How have they made your life better? And of course, she has stated they've ruined her life. She's in a worse place. She had posted this. She's in a worse place now than when she met them. They made her life worse. So I firmly believe that. And I'm like, hey, you need to talk to her. Because again, I don't know. I couldn't speak for Jeremy Hales during anything, but there has to be, again, at least there's never even been a good faith effort at trying to mediate. I'm not saying mediation would ever work, by the way, but they did nothing on the side of mediation. They're 100%, hey, okay, let's go, sue me, do it, And again, they're going to have a lot more of a problem saying that it is a quote unquote free speech issue with the sign thing. The signs are a problem. Oh, I read something really interesting on the signs too, just a note. So if you go back and you look, Melissa's been posting about this. It's very interesting. So remember they tried to say with their expert that quote unquote Jeremy Hales wrote the sign. Now, how did they get a sampling of his handwriting? What they did is they took samples of Michelle's handwriting that she gave them, and then I guess by eyeballing items that he thought Hales had written, he was like, oh, that's the guy who did it. It's absurdity when you listen to what they're saying, because as far as any kind of sample piece to it, oh, what a mess. That's its own topic, though. I think it can be talked about. But let's continue. It's just so nuts, especially considering she was saying it cost, what was it, $14,000 for that expert witness? That's what Michelle Preston said, anyway. Now I wonder, because where did that money come from? Well, anyway, yeah, I don't think when you look at it again, we won't talk about that right now. The money, that's what we need to focus on. And later on, though, like I said, I'm not here. I do this for years, and it doesn't matter if it's a celebrity or whatever. A case is a case is a case. I give my opinions on them, but I don't want you have a little girl that's about my daughter's age and my littlest daughter, and I don't want your kid having their entire life screwed up from now on. So I think the money
already is.
Well, the money
My
thing
child is destroyed.
Well, the money thing would definitely, like I said, you got enough money that was there. The barn dough. David told me another thing too. Let me pull this up. He also said, see, it wasn't just the money he gave. He said. How, by the way, is that not us talking in a conversation? You hear that, you know? And what's interesting is she's talking about her child. And you might be thinking, oh man, she's trying to blame Hales and other people for her child. But remember, she said that Lisa destroyed her kid. She said that earlier. This is a conversation about Lisa. So, I mean, really think about that. It's the thing that happens to every person. They're always blamed for being abusive, for being a monster in some way. They always have the kid pointed at them. And this is no exception. When money was coming in, that he stopped giving money because nothing was being done. And now that's not on you again, but he said, I paused.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, he might, again, I don't know where his mindset is because Lisa has done a lot of damage to him too. You know, she came after him, attacked him, but he said he paused any further donations at the end of last year because he wanted to see action. He wanted to see something happening. But
right. So did we. And I have some of the text messages between me and Lisa. She wiped out all of the, the Facebook Messenger.
By the way, right here is a discussion about the two of them and the preservation of evidence. You know, devices, the fact that there are communications that were not preserved, they were destroyed. I mean, just all kinds of insanity. I mean, ultimately, they were communicating through Facebook Messenger. Now, the positive there is that Facebook actually keeps a backup. Unfortunately, to procure a backup like that, you have to have a judge sign off. It is very difficult to get social media to turn over something like that. It's very difficult. And in most instances, I agree with that, you know, because you have people that will, they will try to unmask and find out anything about folks. But with that, I mean, this discussion again, these people just, they do not follow courts and straight. And I guess, honestly, it doesn't fucking matter with some of these courts because some of these courts don't have the balls to do anything about it, you know? But
she wiped that out by turning on the 24-hour thing. So before I could get all of those screenshotted, they were gone. But I have a tablet and I have a phone that if I can get them charged, I have lots of screenshots. Plus, I gave some to somebody else. I need to ask her if she held on to them. If she did, then I'll have them send them back to me, proving that we begged. And well, I begged. I begged and begged and begged and begged. I begged. There's nothing else I could do but beg. And I can prove that I have been in constant conversation with the engineer and with Levy County throughout this entire thing. They know every single thing that happened. Everything.
I saw the receipt you posted. That alone, again, I thought that was pretty definitive. You said, you know, the whole idea, they've said, well, first of all, let me start over that. The permit thing, the money was given to you for the entire thing, everything with the barn dough. So it doesn't matter with the permits right now, with them being expired, that money wasn't given to her for framing. It was given to you for your project. It has nothing to do with her. She's just a middleman. And what she's doing it's very illegal. I've seen people go to prison for the stuff she's doing. I believe if you gather all of your receipts, and what have you talked to so far, law enforcement wise? What have you done so far?
I talked to Beecham, but the day I called Beecham, he told me, he said, well, Lisa was already here. I said, what do you mean Lisa was there? He said, she came here or called or whatever. She's
well, that's an interesting thing too. Did she come there or did she call there? You know, she's made it very clear, by the way, when talking about stuff, that she was communicating with these folks in ways that she knew would not leave records, which is, it's highly, it's highly prejudicial, first of all. You know, when you talk about, hey, they're getting involved in everything from protective orders and more. And I mean, we have discussions here. Oh, I'm really close to Beecham. I talked to him. But you know what, Lisa? It sounds like they've all been colluding together for a while now, doesn't it? And that's crazy. When you're talking about an area, law enforcement, and they're colluding with these crazy fucking people. Like I said, I try not to be... I'm trying not to sound like a conspiracist, but when I look at some of the courts, I see them bringing up things like Dan Owen. I hear fucking the mess that goes on with the sheriffs out there. You really have to wonder about things. Can you get justice in these areas? Can you indeed? Can anything happen? I dread this for the average citizen that lives in this place, by the way, because the average person, if a dude with money that can actually fight can't get justice, how the fuck could a regular person?
Already been here and said that your permit expired and that she could no longer do anything because you can't do work on a house without a permit. And I told I have a very good rapport with him.
I have a very good rapport with Beecham. That's an interesting thing to state. Yeah, your report's so good that he sure as shit didn't help you there. But Lynette, by the way, had been talking about forever that they had been conspiring, and she was saying he was going to come to Ohio. They had all sat down and they had talked to him several times. So, I mean, just insane things. I thought, man, I've never heard somebody, especially considering, you know, in the Hale's conversation, we're talking about the lady that has a protective order against her. She's not the aggrieved. She's the aggressor in that situation. And yet, it's so bizarre.
And he said, well, do you have that proof? And I said, yep, I have that proof. So I have been, okay, I gotta watch what I say. I have given that information to someone I am working with on that and other things.
Huh, Lisa, by the way, do you wonder who that is? See, it's not actually, it's not Tina and Brian, because Tina sold Lynette Preston out first thing. And it's not someone else that's connected right there in the ecosystem. The way that she talked about it, it wasn't this other quote unquote friend either. She's talking about an outside party that she was aiming at Lisa. This is what I enjoy about this right here. Just the just consistent backstabbing and insanity. You know, again, they're telling the public, oh, everything's gravy, baby. Everything's good to go. And yet, privately, again, it is all knives out to the hilt. It's just craziness.
So I did turn her in.
I did turn her in.
She said that she would still do the work. That is what is stopping them from going further with the investigation, because she says that she'll still do it, but that I need to correct what I did wrong by allowing the permit to expire. How did I let it expire?
Well, regardless, too, this isn't Lisa's money to nitpick with. So if Beecham truly did say something like this just shows how incompetent law enforcement is there. They didn't investigate. They're supposed to investigate these issues. And again, if money was collected with the stated purpose of building the barn dough. Well, permits would be part of that again. So for law enforcement to selectively decide about something, I personally believe that, you know, they did, because Lisa on the other side of it said, yeah, I reached out to the police before she could. So that did happen. You know, Lisa made sure that we knew that that happened.
That doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't even
matter. You don't just...
Yeah. SF said it's like Game of Thrones. It is. That's why, you know, when they started, when the Fats started putting themselves on the on the throne there, the blue bucket throne, you know, for some of their thumbnails, I thought that was really funny. Because what that told you is that, that these people, they think that they're in charge of it. I mean, again, Lynette Preston, she's not the big dog in this show. Bruce, he's no longer the big dog in the show. Now, the fun thing about it is the big dog also carries the liability stick. You know, they figure, they especially after the way Fed 2 is going, they think, oh man, there will never be any ramification. Meanwhile, they're staring down this court, a federal court that they're asking questions, and they were talking about shit like this. Again, this isn't me posting something or you posting something or, you know, whatever. This is Lynette Preston talking about how she was never given the money that was collected in her name. That court, I mean, how did they not take this seriously?
Just go and buy a permit. You freaking do the job, and after the job is done, you get extended the next 180 days to do the next project.
Michelle, did you hear what he said, though? Did you catch what Tug said?
So okay, look, you have the conversation here. Now, again, they're like, this is a conversation. It's between Tina and Michelle. Tug isn't involved. And why the fuck are they talking about what I said there? I mean, you caught that statement right there, right? Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what Tug said? I mean, just listen to this again. How the fuck? This shows you the denial of reality. Like this, the gaslighting that they do to their audience.
Hear what he said, though. Did you catch what Tug said?
It doesn't matter about the permit. Ultimately, doesn't matter. It's your money. Like, she's not a contractor. The way the police are approaching this, she was given money for a specific thing, and that's not it. Have you provided them with again? You know, one of the things they need to be aware of is that Lisa Lee's man he's a criminal. He is an actual criminal. Like, that is not a lie. She said it was a lie and stuff, but he has a criminal record. He has scammed the elderly. They have pretended to be contractors. It is the same MO that we are seeing right now. We pulled the court records. Yep. We read them. Are the police aware of that?
No, because I don't have any of that.
Okay, well, I will
I
gather
don't have
that
anything.
stuff. I will gather that for you. I will put it together for you, and I will give it to you. Like
I would appreciate it.
100%. Like I said,
I want to see her sit in jail.
I want to see her sit in jail. Again, these people, they want to put each other behind bars. This isn't some minor kerfuffle, a little tiff that happened. That's hate, man. She was like, oh, yeah, I want to go after her. I want to go after her man. And like I said, you know, they were blaming other people for doing certain things. And again, Lynette, of course, is denying that any of this stuff is real. Oh, well, it's not real. I never said any. Okay. All right. I've let them deny and play around I'll give them about 6 weeks. I thought that would be fair. I figured they could solidify that to the point because they figure that there's not more. And again, here's the other part of this too. I hope they realize there's more than this. So even this, there's more. There's a time and a place for everything to come out. The timing matters. And with all of their discussion about the money, no, it's all good to go. It's gravy, baby. And look at the people. I mean, again, you're seeing streams with some pretty nasty fucking people. that have been brought in. But hey, ecosystem is fine with, with frauds and with extortionists. They're okay with that, because fuck that guy who says mean things on the internet when people try to back him into a corner, right? I mean, it is unreal. Absolutely. Let's continue. Okay.
I'm done being used and abused and treated like I'm some kind of bad person when I'm not.
Our interests align in this. Like I said, she wanted to do damage to me. People said, you talk about CPS to your home, that piece of shit, I believe, I cannot prove this, but I believe her or she had someone else, they sent them to my home. So, okay, they want to do that, fine. Criminals shouldn't play.
Well, she called on me. She gave her name.
So that is an absolute. You see how this comes into the conversation. It is 100% about Lisa. She 100% is saying that Lisa called CPS and gave her name to them. Now, why is that important? Because she has been telling the world that Jeremy Hales is responsible for 41 CPS calls to her home. It is all Hales. It doesn't matter if it happened before Northport or after Northport, or I'm saying during Northport or after Northport or whatever. She's saying it's all tied to him. And yet, when you talk to someone, it's an accusation of convenience. They're accusations of convenience. She will accuse whomever she's mad at. I would very much believe, by the way, that these people, they could have defended. Well, I'm going to say, I can't, again, this is a proof problem, because if somebody showed her who called, that would be a violation there. Absolutely a violation. But she's saying they called, and some of the stuff that was stated by them and their chat's response to it. Oh, I expected their chat to. I mean, they were talking about doing wellness checks and checking in for the kid and all this other crazy shit. So I was fully expecting a bunch of just insanity to break off. I just didn't know, how much would happen. Oh, this is such a crazy story. Oh that's wild. See, that's absolutely wild. But I believe it. Look, I sat over and I watched their streams when they went after you, when they turned on you. And again, I believe that was calculated. In fact, I would be very careful on what I say around those people, because I think that they are trying to take everything from you. That sounds conspiratorial.
Yeah, I'm not involved in anybody. I keep trying to get John to understand.
Yeah, John is talking to him every day.
Are not for us.
Yes, he is talking to them every day. Lisa talked about this. I pulled their transcripts every day. I don't like listening to them. They get on my nerves, but I pulled the transcripts and I listened to it on Speechify, and he is talking to them a lot. In fact, anything that you have said about how you want to move forward, he has told them, and they said that. They said it live. So,
I know. I know what he's doing. He's mad because I don't lie. And that's hard for everybody to believe, but I don't lie. And John is not physically abusive, but John is verbally and emotionally abusive. And he was to me, he was to his ex-wife, he was to his girlfriends. That's who John is. And I'm done with it, and he knows that. He knows that when this is all over, that I'm not going to be here.
You understand? So, like for me, I do not talk about your child. Yeah, all right, right here. There's about I think a minute where it's going to speed up, because there's a glitch in the thing. I'm going to have to go back to the original and see why. It's probably where I put it in Dropbox, but I noticed there will be like a minute or something. It just sped up. It's playing for some reason at like it sounds like it's playing at 1.5 speed. So it'll go away in just a minute, but it's strange. I don't know why exactly it did that. Can we slow that down? Actually, I wonder. It sounds fast. Let me see. That's very right. I talk about red flags, and some of your statements about John concern me. I will not call CPS. I did not, and I will not. But
he loves. I'll tell you this.
See how that sounds? I don't know if that's in the original or like if there's a glitch, with the conversation. I don't know. I have to go back and listen to everything and see why. But when I was listening to this after I uploaded it, I was like, is that from Dropbox? Because it sounds fast. I don't speak that fast. You hear me? I don't think in my life I've ever well, maybe, but it would take some medication or something to make me speak that fast.
That man may be verbally abusive to me, but he loves this little girl with all his heart. And the lies.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. For some reason, like I said, it goes away, but I'm trying to get it to slow down.
Is that Trace Granger said about all the sexual shit? She lied. She lied. And there's a reason Trace and Brett lied. They conspired to kill Russell Mead.
Look, let's not get into the past.
Now, I know that, but I'm going to say that.
I worked in mental health for years. I worked with children, and I worked with damaged children. And they would be damaged by, the people that were close. Now it went back to normal. Some of that stuff, like I said, when you talk about abuse. It's still awful. So again, I never called services.
He's not a physical abuser. He emotionally abuses me because that's just who he is. He hates women.
He hates women.
He don't like women. We're second-class citizens.
Maybe that's why he likes Lisa. I'm sorry.
You know what it is? She pets him. She pets his ego.
Yeah.
She pets his ego. Michelle shouldn't treat you like that. She should treat you better. You need someone and deserve somebody who will treat you with love and respect.
Isn't that a weird conversation, by the way? Those are usually conversations where you're trying to win someone over relationship-wise or something, right? Oh, man, it's terrible how that person, they treat you. Michelle Preston should treat you better. She should treat you with love and with respect. She's a horrible person. I mean, they're sitting around multiple times a day. John Cook and Lisa, they're sitting around and having conversations like that. Don't you find that weird? Like, it can't just be me that thinks, wow, that's a kind of a bizarre thing, right? Because again, usually that's going somewhere. There's a purpose. It's very manipulative, but beyond that, it just sounds, I don't know, weird.
And you know what the sick part of it is? She knows why I stopped being with John Cook and why we divorced. She knows why I told her, and she used it against me, and that's why I hate her.
So have you gathered all the receipts? You posted those receipts. It sounds like it was just that one little area that I think it's in the upload, because I've got a clip of that and it doesn't sound that weird. I don't know. I'll have to check that out. But anyway, I'm curious about she said there's a reason why I divorced him. I told Lisa and she used it against me. What does that mean? I mean, how exactly would she have, quote unquote, used it against her? How would she have weaponized that claim? I'm very curious about that too. Receipts that you had. Do you have other receipts that you have gathered together?
No, all we have is the fence.
Okay.
We just have the receipts on the fence.
Well,
and she brought...
When I say receipts, I don't know. That's my bad, the way I worded that. I mean, like text messages and other stuff. You posted the messages there. Do you have... Yeah. Again, you should go through, look at anything that you still have from Lisa regarding donations, regarding any of that, not just the project and getting it on there, but anything she said about donations or anything else, because you need to gather all of that,
That's what I need to find on the tablet and the phone from the screenshots that I took. Okay. I'm trying to there's a guy at the flea market who fixes stuff. We just haven't had any money. I mean, it's tough. What's been done to us has put us in a big pickle all the way around. And then the camper got black mold and we had to let go of that. And then Lloyd's camper got stolen and we were buying that. And now,
Lloyd's camper got stolen. You see how that's framed, by the way? Isn't that interesting? I thought that one thing that stuck with me out of that whole narrative there is that Lloyd's camper. No, Lloyd didn't leave and take his stuff with him. Lloyd's camper was stolen. It's weird. How do you steal your own? Oh, well, we were buying. Well, why didn't you sue Lloyd over that then? If you felt like you had a contract, see, this is what always killed me about the Trespass 5. If they truly believed that they had a contract and that Lloyd violated the contract, why did they go after all these random people? Why didn't they go after Lloyd? Lloyd would be the one person that you would want to nail down for that, right? I mean, that would make sense, correct? And yet he's the one person out of that whole thing that they didn't go after there. I just thought that was bizarre.
Oh, we had to buy another one. So now I've got another big payment I have to make. And
well,
it's hard to get things done that I need to get done when I got to be doing all this other crap.
Well, what I'll do is I will gather, like I said, the records and things like that. I'll talk to people I trust. Again, you and I do not tell people we talked. I would suggest that because those people over there will, they will not be happy and they will move against you, Lynette. They will. I think they
I know that. Okay. I know.
See, right. Look, she talks about retaliation. I told her, hey, you better not tell these people you talk to me because they will retaliate against you. Oh, I know that. I know that. So, see, we even discussed it. And again, remember their whole excuse for this is we're not talking, by the way. This is somehow this is Tina and Michelle talking the whole time. like make that make sense to me. Again, you see how this conversation's going. How exactly? And
neither one of you need to worry about me opening my mouth.
No, and Tina didn't say
I know that, Tina. I know that.
Yeah, but I'm going to get.
I'll just say this: I want nothing more than to see Lisa pay for what she's done to me.
Okay.
Because I almost feel like she's done worse to me than I call him my stalker. Sorry, but I feel like she's worse to me than even he did. So,
see, that is an amazing statement considering all of the stuff that she has claimed, all of the things that she is also allowed to be perpetrated against Hale. Because she's saying that Lisa is as bad in her statements as Hale's. Again, that's her words, not mine, by the way. Just making that clear. But if she believes that she's that awful and terrible, she's been weaponizing this person against Jeremy Hales. She's been feeding him anything that like he can spy through fencing, or she can find out whatever's going on with this or that. Again, she thinks that this person is awful. They're monstrous. So if you're sicking them on someone else, what would they be using them for if not for some monstrous purpose, right?
I've been more hurt by what she did.
Lisa did you very
and one of the reasons why is because she made my little girl love her. She made my little girl love her. And then she freaking did this.
Again, she weaponizes her kid with Lisa there. And like I said, they want to just brush that under the rug, pretend that didn't happen. But what it shows is a pattern of behavior. They accuse everybody on a long enough timeline of doing something terrible in that type of situation. Well, you
hurt my kid.
Well, you take it. You take that emotion right there, and you bottle it into something useful. You take it and you motivate with it. You pull up everything that you know that you need. You put it together, and like I said, I'll pull up records. I'll pull up Gabe, anything that I can find with Lisa, any of those issues. And are you good with see this? I think this conversation has gone fine. Would you be okay with talking to me in a few days after I pull up everything? Would that be okay?
Yeah,
I'll have
that's fine with me.
We'll do it just like this. Like I said, I use a Google Voice, and again, we can do it just like this. We can talk, and I'll set up a Dropbox. That way you will have access. Essentially, all I have to do is send you a link. I pay for Dropbox. I have one, that's how I keep up with cases and everything else, but I'll set up something just for me and you, and we'll be able to drop documents in it. If you drop your stuff in there, and that way, you'll never have to worry about losing them. You also never have to worry about someone trying to take them or delete them from you. They will always be there.
I don't mind if they end up out either, because
you notice, like, she doesn't mind whatever ends up in the public either. Look at her talking about that. Isn't that interesting? She's totally okay as long as it hems up Lisa. They're all good friends, right, man? They're all pals. Everybody there. I mean, they're all working toward a common stated purpose. That's what gets me too. If they're saying that they're all monsters and stuff, again, what is the message in utilizing many of these people? Like, again, what does that say? If you yourself are weaponizing monsters against someone else, someone that you think has done harm, not to just you, but your child. Again, there's no nice way of putting that. It's why these admissions are so wild. When you think about, there's the spoken, but there's the portion that remains unspoken, that when you think about it, you're like, wow, that's kind of crazy.
Truth. The truth is the truth. The way I look at it is, you can't turn the truth into a lie, and you can't.
So the truth is the truth too. Remember, you can't turn the truth into a lie. So a conversation that happened here that they lied about, no. The truth is the truth, and you can't turn the truth into a lie. So why the fuck did you lie about having a conversation and wanting to put Lisa in jail then, since you always tell the fucking truth, right? Excuse my wording there. I'm just wondering. Excuse my profanity in that. I'm very curious about that. I am very curious about this modern soothsayer that always tells the truth about everything, according to herself, somehow forgetting to tell the truth here. She tells the truth all the time, except when it comes to an issue about how, again, and I understand why she did it. I understand why she doesn't want to fess up, because she thinks that these people somehow, they're going to keep having her back. Actually, I really do wonder, again, if her plan is like she told Tina, just to play nice until they get through with the protective order. And then after the protective order, she becomes the new target. I'm wondering if that's actually the long-term plan that she imagines there. And ultimately, like I said, she was so creative with her attack on these people. She was she thought she could put it together and do specific things so much that she ended up playing herself. Because now she's looking at losing everything. I don't wish that on people. That's the kicker. Does it need to happen? Well, I mean, she's definitely dug this hole here, and she's definitely caused some major issues. But I hate for anybody. I hate the fact that I believe that a child will be punished in all of this, and that is not, again, the fault of Hales, because Hales deserves justice, but it's definitely the fault of the people that do all of this madness. If you end up with nothing, if you keep going, and again, it would be one thing if we were just talking about actions online, putting together an insane conspiracy. I mean, these people are beyond the freaking pale. Like the insanity that they have gotten into. It is unreal. Anyway, let's continue.
Can't make the lie a truth. People try, but you can't. And that's just the way it is.
You should pull the fence ones up first. Hell, put those up publicly if you wanted, because like I said, she made big lies about it. We did a FOIA on her calls with Levy County, and she admitted that the fence cost. She said $5,000. So what we've heard is a little under it. I believe that. That's the Lowe's cards. They did definitely pay for that. But she's been lying, dude. She's been saying that, at one time she was trying to say that the thing cost $20,000, which is insane, But
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, she just recently said on Stacy's channel, I can't prove it because I haven't seen it. Well, let's just say I was told. She said that she paid for our building. I paid for my building.
Well, that's interesting, Lynette. See, this is also another wonderful thing, that if she comes out and she tries to take credit somehow as a creditor, saying that, she was responsible in some way, shape, or form for the erection of the building, then, God, remind me never to say those two words together, by the way. Remind me to never talk about the fats and say erect or anything. That's really terrible. Blah. I'm sorry about that. That was a live stream faux pas. I apologize. Yuck.
I paid for my building. I wrote a check for $28,000 or $27,000, and I paid for my building. So she can kiss my bloody butt if she says that she paid for this building.
That sounds really gross, by the way. You're not in England. Like if I love how like people from the UK, when you say like something bloody this or bloody that works. But when people in the US say it, it sounds gross and awful. She just told her to kiss her bloody butt, which is very nasty.
Building.
She mentioned you Sunday
out of her mind.
On her stream, she mentioned you 71 times instances. She mentioned you 31 times that I go through and I put together a transcript, with that 31 times it picked up straight by name. Sometimes with her, the way she speaks, it sounds more like BOMBSHELL than BOMBSHELL. So sometimes it messes up, but I found 71 instances so far just in that one stream where she attacked you. She degraded. Again, the difference between with her, she pretended to be your friend and she pretended to be your advocate and she wormed her way in your life. And that's what these people do, Michelle. That's what they do. So,
yep, I know.
If, like I said, I'm totally fine with helping you take them down. You put together whatever. Have you filled out an IC3 report online?
No, I don't know.
That's
anywhere else.
That federal form. You didn't do that?
No.
You definitely, they handle internet.
I talked to the deputy. I talked to the sheriff first. That's the first thing I did.
See, she just see. This is typical too. She's like, well, I talked to the police, and why don't you do all the work for me? See, she wanted to also. One of the things that she wanted was, and she did start doing some of the lifting, but she wanted somebody else to do the work and potentially take the blame for when she goes out there, because she wanted to she was definitely going to catch some flack about it. She knew. Hell, I'm sure like a Bruce would not be happy that she's reaching out and talking. If she's talking to me, she's talking to other people, many other people. And I'm sure with all their plans, this does not fit in, warm and fuzzy, but well, if you look this up, it's IC3. So it looks like ICE, except instead of E, it's a 3. When you pull it up, put up IC3.gov, and you'll see Internet Crime Complaint Form. That is the Fed. This stuff falls under a federal purview as well. She's committed a federal crime here. So it's not just Levy County, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try. Yeah. This is a federal crime. This is big time. This is when she started. So apparently the way that this stuff went, according to her conversations with Tina, she apparently stated that she was going to do something like make a federal complaint and also something internationally. She was going to bring all of that stuff up and, you know, try to get all the stuff with David involved. And after that, suddenly lawyers are getting paid for. Strange how that worked, huh? Yeah.
I'm using a crayon, guys. Hold on.
But I'm going to reach out to David and see about money, you know, about seeing if he will give me some kind of statement, because he said to John that he would be a witness for you folks. So I'll see if he will talk to me and give me a statement. That's the wild thing too. He did say that. He absolutely did say that in a chat. Hey, by the way, I'm going to ask you, it's going to take me 1 minute. I'm going to turn something on for just a second. I got to go grab a medication out of the room that's over here. It will take me I'm just going to turn on a 1 minute song and I'll turn it back off. So if anybody pops up, I'm not gone. I just need to turn something on. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to adjust any of your sound, you know, so I don't deafen any of you, but I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I will be right back. It won't just take me about a second. Okay.
Broadcasting coast to coast. Who's the epic villain you miss the most? It's the umbrella guy listening to them crying as they pull the plug because their case is dying. It's falling apart, listen to them scream. Gotta laugh if they're stupid on my next live stream. And down he goes, another lawyer falls. Like reverse Pokemon, you gotta wreck them all. They just got nuked, their case turned to ash. And how they blame the plaintiff and beg the court for cash. And all the excuses, how is any of this real? They can sanction them, Your Honor, we cannot pay our bills. And for all those reasons and what you said about jail, I'm gonna change my arguments and blame Mr. Hales. Picture a lawyer so corrupt he lies about proof, about messages, about his own words. He even frames his law.
All right, sorry about that. I had to grab something. I figured I could, God, I end up forgetting 1 or 2 things while I'm sitting here. Lord. Oh, give me a second. Oh. I was moving as fast as I could. Like I said, sorry about that. Here we go. Let's continue. That letter isn't quite the statement anyway. You know, I have like I said, I've got his posted receipts, how much he said she posted about it. So I've got her confirmation. I have that letter again, you know, his letter, which we'll talk about at the end of this. His initial letter, again, was very clear in what he had to say. And he followed that up as well, too. You know, he was not very, he's like, he reminds me of Preston in some ways, because when they want something, you know, they're like, oh, here's this or that. Well, it'll end up in bankruptcy court now, because I think that will be the ultimate issue for 2L. And again, if that money's gone, if they have spent that money, God, they have a real problem. Already not turning it over could be a giant problem, but not having the money, Lord, I don't even know what'll happen with that. She's trying to do, Michelle, is she's trying to lie and say that there were 3 projects and that the money that was given, like if it was for the fence, and I say for the fence, she decides what's for the fence, but if it was for the fence, if there was $20,000 and it was paid for, well, that's okay. The rest of it's hers. So that's what she's trying to pull on you. That's why the $18,000 she says is left. No, she's pocketed a lot of money. And that's just, that 18 grand is one donation from David, the donor. That is one donation. That is it.
She should not be taking anything as hers, because it wasn't. I heard her say, I listened to it myself, and she said the donations were, at first they were donations for John and Michelle.
Right.
Then all of a sudden they became gifts to me, her, for use however I see fit. And that is not what they were. I was right there.
Wow. Now that's a heck of a statement, is it not? At first, they were donations for John and Michelle. And actually, the way I heard it, it wasn't John and Michelle. It was LP and HG. That's the way that it was framed at first. And then it ends up, it's for her to do however she wants, to do whatever she wants with it. And she cannot do that. That is not how it works. Just because the law is slow in catching up, by the way, doesn't mean that she's somehow just been able to walk away. I mean, again, I don't know how the bankruptcy thing will go. Like, I don't know how they will look at it, with money, with funding, and if funding is has been misspent or whatever. I don't know how they address that, but I do know that this is it's not unorthodox. It's illegal. What the shit they have pulled is illegal as hell. There is no way. From their own statements, they're telling you they don't have the amount of money left that they should have. They were trying to say that we have 18 grand left. It was for the barn. Again, makes no sense. One guy gives $56,000. People pay for the fence. Doesn't even count anymore. People pay for that, according to Michelle Preston herself. So that's off the table. So you end up with some water heaters, a couple of toilets, an island, and some lumber, and a Christmas party. Now, again, all together, if we are really nice about it, we could call that $10,000. Hell, let's just make it, for simplicity's sake, let's call it $16,000. That way, we don't have any lingering numbers. That's still, we have $40,000 from one person. Where did it go? I think we know where it went. Again, if they're saying there's only 18 left, either they have been utilizing it for other things, which that seems like a big no-no, especially if it's not their money to utilize for. They told us it wasn't for that too. I think they have a jailable potentially problem, and it'll be real interesting. If I think, just being blunt about this, I'm gonna be fucking real blunt about this, okay? And I hope they hear this, because I'm gonna say it very clear. The guy that they picked a fight with, they expected him to walk in and have every dollar that he ever had tied up in court cases, right? Well, if he's cut loose from that giant court case, like I said, he could take 10 grand and potentially hire somebody that maybe could fix this and make sure that the police are very aware. There's nothing illegal in that, and that would probably be a much better road, because again, they have done something that is just, it's nasty. And I'm not basing this on just what I've seen or receipts out there. I'm basing it off of the lady that the money was for is coming forward and telling me, hey, help me put this person in jail because they've ripped me off. Like, that is a huge issue there. It is a massive thing.
On her freaking channel, I know exactly what was said.
And David's money was, and I don't think you caught what Tug was saying. That's why I'm chiming in.
Yeah.
David's money covers the permit charge because it was for the entirety. And then he had planned on continuing.
Well, what she's doing is illegal. Okay, so there was a case at one time where somebody tried to pull the same thing. It very, very close to it. These people had done a fundraiser for a person. It blew up. It went viral. There was a lot of money, and they said that money was given to them for specific things. They didn't follow through, but when they did that, it's not her money. She cannot choose to say, oh, this is only what it's for. No, it's your money. It was given to you, and you decide. And if it's also where people have said, well, it's for the child, well, you're her guardian, so it's your money, And
exactly.
if you want to burn it in your yard, it is your money. So and
here's the other thing about it. If she would have just hired the engineer, it would have cost us, well, if she would have just did it and framed it, we wouldn't have had to have an engineer, okay? We'd still be working with Levy County. But because she let the permit lapse and we had to go to an engineer, if she would have paid him the $2,500, that's what we would have had to pay. That is not what we have to pay now. Now we have to fall under 2025 new building laws. So I need new blueprints. I need a new aerial photograph of our property. I need to reapply for a permit through a third party. So I can't go to Levy County. I definitely am not going through Otter Creek because I'm not. And I have to hire a third person. So now the blueprints are going to cost I think it was almost maybe $1,000 for the blueprints in the beginning. The engineer is still going to be $2,500. And then we're going to have to still pay now a permitting place. So we still got to buy a permit, which was $2,000 and some dollars. Or no, it was more. I don't know. I have to look it all up. I don't want to misstate. So someone says I'm saying the wrong.
So according to Michelle here, because they wouldn't follow forward, they didn't just let something lapse, but they threw this project so out of bounds that it cost, again, look at the shape, according to her, that she's in now. Because again, these people, they refuse to follow through. If they refuse and they don't pay, like I said, it looks really bad. I do not see how law enforcement at minimum does not investigate something like this, you know? And the reason that they do, because what it sounds like is they don't give a shit about Lynette Preston. They want to take down Jeremy Hales. That's why they've dealt with her. Because when it comes to her pals over in Levy County, they didn't even bother to investigate her claims. So she's so credible, unless it's kind of wild, huh?
Wrong thing. Don't quote me. But we have to pay for all of that now.
And that all through the David money, right, Tug?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
She should be paying for all that.
It all comes out. Yes, it's all your money. Ultimately, there's a lot.
And here's the problem.
You remember too when they had Celebration stream and they talked about how after they raised all of that money that it was enough to complete the barn. Do you remember that? Now, $18,000 wouldn't have completed the barn, and they knew that. They absolutely knew that. I think that's another giveaway. You know, I was thinking about this the other day when they did their celebration, and they were like, "Oh, we've raised enough money. We'll be able to finish it all." Yeah, they were including the whole amount at that time. And then suddenly, as you go forward, it goes from this whole idea of enough to complete the entirety of this project to no, actually there were 3 projects, and well, $40,000 off of one person alone seems to have been misplaced. Like I said, that is as fraudulent as hell.
That also now exists. To be perfectly honest, we could do all that. Let's just say she gets the permit, gets new blueprints, pays for all that. Let's just say she even had enough to frame it, which I highly doubt she does. But then John and I are...
Look, she's saying that there's no money left too. Lynette Preston herself is saying, I highly doubt there is money left. I think she has spent it all. Don't you think that's wild? Like the reason that she switches over, again, she has this legal need. She needed a lawyer. She needed this or she needed that. And look what she's willing to bring in. Look what she's willing to do to make it work. She's willing to take on somebody that she has absolutely trashed. And again, tried to get arrested and more. She's taken that. And then, I mean, it's just, like I said, it's wild business.
We're still in a conundrum because We're paying legal fees. We're paying all this garbage.
What legal fees? She said this, and I thought, who's she paying? You know, she's making it sound like she is paying out of pocket for litigation, when everything that has transpired with her has been paid for by someone else, you know, like other people are paying for everything. So what fees?
We don't have the money to move forward. So right now, it makes no sense to get a permit reestablished at the moment because
Michelle,
we can't finish.
Why are you paying a pro bono legal fees?
No, I'm having to hire other lawyers.
Oh.
Hire other lawyers? What? I'm having to hire other lawyers. She's telling me that she is having, the reason that she can't do anything is because out of her own pocket, she is having to pay legal fees. And Tina, I like that she asked the question. She was like, wait, what? Why are you paying your pro bono lawyer? Which is a good question. Like, why are you paying Bruce? Like, why is there money that's going to him? You know, again, he's doing this for free, right? And she's like, no, I'm paying for other, what other lawyers? Who is she paid for, period, ever? Like look at her legal teams. Everyone has always been covered by someone else. She's never, so, you know, these excuses of, yeah, actually, I'm paying for this stuff, that does not fly. It's wild to hear, because even in this, she's making excuses that they don't really matter in this, you know, in the conversation about right and wrong between her and Lisa. But man, like, it's just always lies.
Okay.
I've had to pay other things.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, guys. I'll mute myself.
No, you're fine.
No, it's okay.
If something comes up, you can speak to. That's good. But you see, okay, that also goes with the conversation. So Tina, you notice she spoke up. I'm having a conversation. Lynette Preston's talking to me. Tina has a question. She speaks, and then she apologizes to both of us for interrupting our conversation. But again, remember, we're according to the ecosystem, this is not a conversation between myself and Lynette Preston. These people just fucking lie, and they lie, and they lie, and they lie. They never stop.
Right.
Making this happen too.
Sure.
Do you guys both understand the place that we are? If we don't have the money right now to finish all of the money that we had reserved for our house, we had to spend.
Our goal is to get your money back.
Well, what we need to find out first.
I don't believe she has it, but
if she doesn't. If she has it, again, she states, I don't believe she has it. I believe that she has spent all of the money. So she is telling whomever will listen that Lisa has stolen her money. You know, which is, well, okay, again, when you look at it, this isn't some random person that's accusing her. It's the person that is supposed to be the beneficiary of this public aid and public support, saying, again, the person that was supposed to turn it over to me stole the money. Again, these people, if she doesn't have it, then she needs to go to jail. That's right there. She either makes you good. Yep, she needs to go to jail. You hear that? And I'm down with either.
I feel the same way.
You know, if we, you know, again, I want you to be able, again, that was money for you all to have a home, you know, for your kid to have a home. So I want that to be able to happen. So, and like I said, I believe that there was a lot more money. Who's the bad guy in this story, by the way? You know, the antis, they say that they picked up and they were there to help out poor downtrodden Michelle Preston, right? According to Michelle Preston, they ghosted her money, the money that was given to her. And it's such a bad situation that the people that they frame as villains People like myself and Megan Fox. You have Preston reaching out to us and begging us for our assistance so that we can potentially help remedy this situation. But remember, we're supposedly the bad guys in their tale. They still are rolling back now and trying to say yet again that we're the bad guys in this tale. It's kind of wild, isn't it? And you know about did they tell you $18,000? Is that how much they said?
She never told us how much. One day, after she bought the island for me, which was $300. She paid for the water here, which ended up being $2. She's lazy. So she bought a water heater.
She also accuses Lisa of being lazy because, I mean, listen to this story here.
This is John's fault. He couldn't figure out how to make it work right. He hooked it up wrong. Let's just say that. He hooked it up wrong. So we needed to send it back because we thought it was broken. She is too lazy to send it back. So she just said, just screw it. It's too much trouble. Just keep it. And
so she told them, because it's not her money, right? It's donor money. According to Lynette Preston, they thought they had a defective water heater. And instead of returning the defective water heater, I wonder about this, by the way. I'm curious. Do they know for sure that the water heater was purchased? You know, it wasn't just came from somewhere. You know, it didn't come off of a site or, you know what I mean? Like a work site, I mean, or something. Are they absolutely sure that the thing was purchased? Because it could be laziness or it could be something else. Again, you know, she calls it laziness, which, okay, fine. But I'm curious because she's saying, well, as far as certain things, I don't know about costs and stuff. What I know about is the cost for the fence. So she doesn't know definitively about purchasing and everything else. Again, maybe that's laziness. Maybe that's indicative of something else. I'm not accusing anyone either. I'm just curious.
And get the new one. So she actually paid for 2 water heaters. So let's just say that was $600 for the both of them. So $300 for the island, $600 for the water heaters, and then she showed up with 2 toilets. Didn't ask us if we wanted the toilet or even what we wanted in a toilet. She just showed up with 2 toilets, and she did buy the lumber, and we did see the receipt on the lumber, and it was $2,300 for the lumber.
So you see, again, that number that I'm pulling out there, it's not just some random number that I've made up. Lynette Preston, according to herself, and she said that John also could confirm this, that the lumber actually cost $2,300. So again, you have $2,300. You have water heaters. You have 2 water heaters. You have the island, and you have a couple of toilets. Again, best case scenario. Let's be really, let's be big spenders with this, right? Let's give for the water heaters. We'll say both of them did cost $300 each. We'll say the island $300, and we'll say we'll give a few $100 for the toilets, even though I don't believe that. We'll call everything together $3,500 with that. So they spend $3,500 on the barn project. Between that and Christmas and a fence that was paid for by Lowe's cards. Again, they're telling us that all of that money, except for 18 grand, has disappeared. Huh. Okay. I knew it was much cheaper than that.
She said all she had left.
Did you hear me say that to Listen, you hear me? I was like, I knew it. It just came out when I was like, what the shit? You're listening behind there. You can hear me. I was like, I knew it.
$2,300 for the lumber.
Okay. I knew it was much cheaper than that.
She said
it was cheaper than
all she had left was about 17,000. She had said 20 but then she said it was actually around 17,000.
So see, according to Lynette Preston, there was a moment where she did give an amount, and she said that there was around $17,000 left. Again, that means that they have taken all of that other money. What did they spend it on? Where has all this other money gone? Lynette Preston is saying, you know, that they didn't okay it for anything else. And we were told plenty of times that it couldn't be used for anything else. Like these are questions. Again, I cannot believe that the ecosystem does not ask. I mean, these are insane questions. That's a lot of freaking money. But they're like, oh, that's nobody's business. It's not the donor's business. Apparently, they're told they can reach out and ask questions until they do. I mean, then you see how the bench stuff went. And look at, again, David. David is noted definitively that they won't answer his emails. And David's an asshole, by the way. He's not fun to deal with. But you know what? They took a lot of money from the man. So they should have been dealing with him. It doesn't matter if he's fun to deal with or not. When you take tens of thousands, plus they took a lot more money off the top and super chats and more. And unfortunately, you know, they said that they were going to do something. Well, you either got to do it or you got to have a reason not to. See, she's lying about, okay, fees. You don't pay fees. The person donating pays fees, but the fees that she's saying, like thousands, that doesn't exist. I use all of these services. I go through that, and I believe she took that money when it came in. Yeah, she was saying that there was all this money in fees she had to pay, like PayPal fees. Now, the only fees I can think of that would go with something like that would be her doing a quick transfer. You know, if you give me money, you know, say you give me money in PayPal or whatever, right? In there, I get two options. I get a standard, which costs nothing to send to the bank, or I get an expedited, you know, an instant. Now, the instant one, it costs X amount of money. And it's a percentage. I think it's a percentage up to. I would have to look again at PayPal's rules for that specific time and see how much that was. Now that assumes, you know, with them too, there's a lot of assumption in there. Like, I'm curious why, if money was sent, why it wouldn't be sent friends and family too. You know, do you not trust the people enough to send it to the friends and family? And if you don't, I think that's a pretty big statement on it too, you know. But anyway, let's continue. I'm into PayPal. She had it instantly transferred over to her account, which cost you about 2 to 3%, because she wanted to grab it, threw it in her own account. But her numbers, again, also one thing too, Michelle. So the reason she does not want you to get a contractor is not because of money. It's because, again, if you look up Gabe's record, I believe they try to keep it all in the house. It's part of their con. If she says Gabe's your contractor or a friend of theirs is their contractor, when they bring in that quote unquote friend, they get to tell you how much everything costs. They control all the money. They wanted to keep you blind to how much you had, how much you had received, and they planned on pocketing all of it, really. I mean, even if they had to put out something, they would pocket all but a percentage.
I do believe she wasn't ever going to tell the right amount. I am listed as the contractor, the general contractor, me.
Okay.
So on our permit, I was listed as the general contractor, but anyone she hired was just going to be at their disposal. But how do we know if it's a friend of hers? How do we know how much she was really paying them?
That's it. Exactly. See, look, did you hear that? There was this moment of clarity right there with Michelle Preston. It took all this time, but you had this moment of clarity. Hey, if they're bringing in the person and they control that, how do you know, number one, from start to finish, how do you know how much money was gathered? How do you know how much money was actually expended? Do you know that these quotes were legitimate or fair? You have no idea. And you can see the light bulb go off for just a moment there. God, I mean, dealing with these people, again, she has dug a hole now, though, that, I mean, ultimately, bankruptcy-wise, it's not going to matter. She's not going to keep any money. But there was a point where she possibly could have. You know, there was a time. She's too conniving for her own good, man. It's crazy. It's kind of like I said, when you pull up Gabe's record, that's what they did. They did the same thing. And you know she was part of that mess. So, again, Michelle, I think you're to the point where you've seen what these people are and what they do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, like
I'm starting to...
Do you have any questions?
I'm listening enough.
Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay.
And I do thank you for talking to me. And I don't mean to interrupt. There's like a thing echo back and forth with my stupid phone.
Well, I've got Tug on my house phone and you're on my cell phone.
Okay, look, see, there's the conversation. Again, at the end, you hear the discussion. She's thanking me for talking to her. You have Tina that is noting, look, I've got Tug on this phone. I've got Michelle on this phone. Huh. How is that not a conversation? Again, these people have just lied and lied. And they said that Michelle herself lied and said that this never happened. If you cannot trust these people for anything, and yet people are trusting them, they're taking them at their word about so much, you know. It kills me. Again, they've been talking about Fed 2 and the documentation. It's the only document they'll read. They never read anything that they think could not be beneficial to them. We went through that 45-page document. You know, we went through it. Again, Lanham Act, I don't know a lot about the Lanham Act. That is not my cup of tea. So any issues in it, again, we discussed it that day. But my God, what a nest of vipers, man. What a nest of vipers to have pointed at somebody. And if the courts are really saying that people can do whatever they want and ruin a person in quote unquote free speech, again, that's a two-way street. It goes both ways. These people, you know, they've talked about how they're going to sue Hales for essentially the same things. So how's that going to work? Well, let's see. This is almost done.
Oh.
We'll
and you're laying on top of each other.
Yeah,
so.
We'll work out the logistics of it. Next time, it'll be more. I was told, hey, you were willing to talk. I was like, hey, this works out right now for me. Right, you know, the kids, they're doing their thing. One's with grandma, so bam, I'm right in here. I'll talk to you right this second. So we just did it fast. You know?
Yep. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, Michelle, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to gather this stuff, okay? And then we will talk in a few days if you're okay. Is that okay with you then?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
So, like I said, I cut off the beginning. I cut a couple little odds and ends out because I thought they were interesting. But, you know, there's more. Like I said, there's more. But everything has its time. Everything has its purpose. And the reason, again, to discuss this at all right now is because we've gotten to the point where they are in heavy denial that any of this exists, that any of it's real. They're telling lots of people that this stuff is not real, that somehow in some way, I mean, they rewrite the reality of situations, and it's bizarre to watch. It's even weirder to watch people buy into it. But anyway, let's hit some super chats there, and then we'll be off. Let's see, how long have we? Wow, we've been on for a minute. You know, that's crazy. But let's go through this. So, Fallen Hero, thank you for the gifted membership there. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much. MaxLab, thanks for the 7 months. Did I see the pic that you made? I saw the email. I haven't looked at it yet. You know, let me look. I haven't had a chance to go through everything, so just give me a minute here. 1 second. Oh yeah, the point of view. Yeah, that's actually good. They came out pretty good, man. you know. The more you play with the AI too, the more you'll find you've just opened up a wild freaking thing. You'll enjoy the heck out of it. Taz, thanks for the 14 months. Time flies when you're watching crazies at their worst. LOL. Indeed. Sometimes I have to wonder if it's at their best. You know what I mean? It's so crazy. Is this their best or is it their worst? Tracy, thanks for the 5 gifted memberships there. Thank you, Tracy. Very much appreciate you. Thank you for that. Jack Miles, thanks for the 2. Tug, check your Tad Guy account per chat. Let me see for Jack. Let me check that out. I'll have to look. Give me 1 minute here. This thing is so... I have to use my phone to check it, so give me a minute. I have to go through their messenger thing, to do it. Give me 1 second. It's being stupid. I hate their messenger on there. I don't know if you ever use Facebook's messenger itself. It's so annoying. Yeah. Give me a minute. I'll have to do it later. It's being stupid right this minute. On my phone, it's being annoying. I'll have to look at it. I'll look at it in a minute. The Floofies. Hey, the Floof. What are you doing, my friend? The Floofy has good news. Oh, man. You got a release coming up Monday. Everybody give love to Floofy Cat. That's awesome. 6 weeks, 5 x-rays. 4, like, wow. Of O2, 3 CT scans, 2 damaged lungs. You had like a terrible, like, the first day of Christmas. There was, what? At the end of it, 1 release now. That sounds awesome. Hey, Suzanne, thank you, by the way. Sent gifted membership. Actually, 2 came through. If you, they came through pretty close together. So if you meant those, appreciate it. If not, you can go in and delete one as a comment. I don't have any control over deleting one, but thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate people. Also, it really tells people, like all you people that do that, again, YouTube is, it feels like YouTube has become adversarial towards its creators. I realize, like, again, subjects drop off. We pull a heck of a crowd anyway. Man, you pull over 1,000 people, you're doing damn good for yourself, So being able to pull anywhere close to what we do amazing, but there are a lot of smaller creators out there. I've seen a few people. I say our music people, for example, people will check them out periodically, right? They'll go in and they'll see exactly what they're doing. Well, some of the channels, like, let me see, some of the numbers that are being posted with them, they've gone from, having thousands of hits each time that they go and they post something to having trouble pulling hundreds of hits. And that's a problem. It's going to be a problem for all creators. So if you enjoy a creator out there, again, make sure that you subscribe to them and keep an eye on, you've got to keep an eye on what they do, because unfortunately what YouTube has said with its new update is that even if you subscribe, now it does help if you hit the notification bell. That way people know you're live, they get notifications that you're live. But if you don't go, like, you ignore notifications for a day or 2, it's not going to send you them anymore. It's going to prioritize something else, because the AI is like, you don't care about that anymore. And that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. Because again, I sometimes will decide, hey, I don't want to watch that right now, but I'll come back later on or whatever. And it's just arbitrarily decided. Say you get sick, or you're taking a day off, or you're on vacation or whatever. It's deciding against many channels out there. So there's going to be a lot of small channels, especially. This is going to harm them. So again, if you enjoy them, keep an eye out. Aussie, by the way, I shouldn't have got on my soapbox. It just bothers me. Like I said, I have a big enough channel that I've been able to to take on a lot of these hits, no matter, which way that the winds blow on YouTube. Like I said, you can pull 1,000 people watching with something, you're doing really good. You're doing okay. And but a lot of people can't. And I hate that for them. They're in the middle of building up, and YouTube is so adversarial. So, but anyway, Aussie, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Aussie, by the way, man, appreciate you very much. So I always enjoy seeing you. Thank you. Debbie, what's up, Debbie? Dropped 5 giftos as well. Man, you folks are awesome. We've had the gifto spigot has been on, which is awesome. I appreciate that too. And I appreciate you helping others out as well. Thank you. Laura, thanks for the 39 months. So happy to hear your blood pressure is getting back to normal. That's awesome. Meds take time to find the right balance. Yeah, I'm wondering though, one of the problems that I've had, see, I'm not taking anything right now because I had my blood pressure went so insane a few days ago that they were like, discontinue until your blood pressure gets back to a normal place, because the medication I was taking was, it's for low blood pressure, like extremely low blood pressure. And my blood pressure was insanely high. So there was no reason to take anything with that. Right. But I'm wondering, again, it's been days, and one of the problems I've noticed, certain things seem to be a little bit better. Again, I can't definitively say anything on the that feeling that would come up, with the low blood pressure that drops. But man, a lot of that stuff that came with it, like the medication, when you start messing around with your blood pressure, you're messing around with fluid content, you're making your body hold on to it. It causes autonomic issues. It causes like buildup, which causes terrible ringing in your ears. It causes more fog in the head. It caused just as many issues as it's supposed to fix. It's very annoying, but hopefully, like all of this gives it close to a reset where, God, I don't know. It's just been madness. Archie, thanks for the 2 there. Hey, Tug, money for tacos from the Mexican crew. Indeed. You got to be able to feed them when you're working, right? Matilda, thanks for the 10. Lynette is such a helpless person. She just doesn't get it. She's even more vulnerable than she was before. It's all tragic, but mostly for HD. Yes, indeed. And that's one of the kickers that has been discussed repeatedly. A lot of people, when they get involved in this subject, they got involved because of HG. On either side of it, they were concerned, they had legitimate concerns. And many of these concerns came from Lynette Preston speaking. And have these people helped that? Or have they done harm? Again, I don't know how they frame any of this stuff as help, just it's wild. Jack's mom, thanks for the 2. Did you ask at the stain? No, I did not, by the way. I did not note that. But even if we include it, if we're gracious in including the $1,000 for the stain, let's just say, that's an extra cost. We're still, how many tens of thousands of dollars we are? But I mean, that is a good question, a legit question. Did that also get paid for with the gift cards? Also, Ante, thanks for the 5 there. Wasn't there supposed to be a trust fund for HG set up with the donated monies after the building permit? Yes, they said that. They also said after January, they were going to refund all that money. That's what they told everybody. Yes, we're refunding everything. It's just a matter of, if the permits are not done by blah, 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 then all that money will be given back. Well, that never happened. And now, like I said, they're jerking around in bankruptcy court. That bankruptcy court stuff, I mean, they're playing with the big dogs there. They're playing with the Fed. You don't mess with the Fed, man. Lynette Preston would be better off. I tried to tell her that she should talk to another lawyer. And it's not about, to have a consultation. It's not about, she thinks that kind of stuff is about picking up another lawyer for a case. No, it's about them telling you, hey, some of this stuff is bad. It's stupid. Like the state cases were stupid, you know? Like if they want to laugh about Fed 2, well, fine. Okay. Well, what did Fed 2 actually breed? It bred the bankruptcy. It bred the state cases. I mean, it for the amount of money that Jeremy put in to this point, it has paid dividend because of the response, and for the response of these crazy people too, just to be honest, with recruitment and stuff. So we'll see. But Travis, thanks for the 10 there. Glad you're on, brother. It's been a crazy night. Amazon shows up in the country in Texas at 8. Oh, man. Walks through gate. Speak English, scared parents, almost shot the guy. So his stream is relaxing me. Yeah, that kind of stuff, man, is nuts. You know, people don't get, like, out in the middle of nothing. You gotta watch yourself. You know, you do. I had some weird stuff where my mom used to live. You know, now she lives more like in a more lived in area, let's say. But back when, she used to live in the middle of nowhere, and people would pop up like that. Oh man. That's dangerous stuff. Dangerous for them. Maria Wright, thanks for the vibe. Roses are red, violets are blue. Tug, appreciate you. And the mods do too. Oh, isn't that lovely? Happy Valentine's Day. Indeed. And happy Friday the 13th too. I hope it has been an interesting one. I figure people, you know, on top of this is a holiday. There will be people out with loved ones. There will be out tomorrow too. So we'll see. I'm planning on live streaming. You know, I may, like I said, I'm thinking about maybe Tina coming on. I think that would be fun. We could talk, you know. She seems pretty angry about, not like they lie about her a lot. And I think she's finally to the point where she's more than willing to talk about just wide open with this. I mean, again, she approached a lot of this with a lot of restraint. And just like Shara, restraint, they pull that away because they treat you like garbage and they threaten you and stuff. You're like, all right. Bunsen, what's up, Bunsen Rock and Stone? Thank you for the 15 months. Not a statement attached, but as always, plenty of statement there. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. SF, thanks for the 5. It really is like Game of Thrones down there. It is indeed. It is so madness. I kind of love it too, you know? I kind of love it. Garrett, thanks for the 2 there. It's my sons, nephews, grandmas, and boss's birthday. Good Lord. Well, let's hit them all with one birthday. Man, what is up? Give me a second here. I said let's hit them with a birthday thing. It will not let me scroll the birthdays. Give me a second. There is something wrong with StreamYards. It won't let me scroll the birthday songs. Well, that's one in the world. I may have to see where I apologize, but look, it's locked up. I'm going to reload. Give me 1 second, okay? I'm just going to refresh into here because, you know, I want you to have a birthday song. So I'll be right back. All right, I'm right back. Let's see if it'll work. Yeah, there we go. It was frozen. I was like, this ain't right. You getting a birthday song. Dang it. Here we go. Let's do this.
Happy birthday from both of us to you. Happy birthday. May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday. To have you here. Happy birthday. Here's to another year.
Oh man. I hope you are having a great one too. Love to you. I can't believe it froze up like that. That was so messed up. I was like, what in the world? So I left, it came back, and it did work. Green Veggie Beast, thanks for the 20. Has anyone asked why she divorced John? Yeah, I'm wondering with all the dirty laundry out there. Why not? Yeah, I wonder. She has said that, but I don't know what that that means, you know. I don't know. I don't know what that that's supposed to do at all. You know, give me a second here. I'm looking at something real fast. I was trying to see if there was any anything on that, but no. I don't have any note whatsoever that lists her quote unquote reason that she told Lisa, and Lisa turned it against her. I was trying to see if I'd made any notation of that, you know, because I made notes about all of this stuff when following up. Maybe Tina can answer that. We'll see. Smoking Cat. What's up, Smoking Cat? Thank you for the 10 months. Appreciate you. Lynette is constitutionally incapable of being honest with herself and others. People like her lie like they breathe. Indeed. Indeed, it feels like it. And thanks for the 2. It's never Lynette's fault, ever. I know, ever. But it, you know, and it's not the disagreement in, hey, I'm right and they're wrong. It's the accusations that come with it, you know? You're wrong, and therefore you and my child, you know, it always comes up as crazy. Ian, thanks for the 2. For home workout, A+. Appreciate that. You know, what's wild about all this stuff is it just doesn't stop. These people will not stop. They hope that people will get tired of folks talking about it. They will damage Hales enough that people will turn on him, or they'll see, they don't want you thinking about the guy that does storage units and this or that. They want to color him in a way that is just, it's just horrendous. And at the end of it, that's what he has to fight. You know, the thing is with the judicial system and how slow it is to do, if it does, you know, the question again with any case is, will something happen? I've told you about Kay. I've watched some of the craziest cases ever, and some that were slam dunks that, you know, like I said, Vic Mignogna. I thought, man, how could that not go forward? But just say, you know, it's all in. You know, you have the law. So there's so many elements of it. You have the law, then you have the lawyer, you have the law, you have the judge, you have the lawyers, and you have all these other factors in there. And unfortunately, as you've seen with Judge Grudge, judges are very fallible. You know, it's unreal. It's all unreal. Mark, what's up, Mark? How you doing, my friend? You know, appreciate you. By the way, if people, if they're looking for good breakdowns of a lot of the craziness, look on Facebook, follow this guy. People also, I've seen a bunch of people note, so on Facebook, there's a post that notes that, hey, that umbrella, or Tad guy is my name. It's a note about professional mode, and it reshared a picture on my my item, but it doesn't actually have a link or anything that I know of. It's just a mode on there. It's supposed to allow you like more access to audiences and things. So I went through and I was using some of their tools, and it apparently put up a post. But some people are like, "Is that fake? Is that real?" Like, as far as I know, I don't see any links with it. So. Melissa, thanks for the 5. 17 years ago today, Friday the 13th, I was speaking out my son's casket. Please pray for me. Oh, man, love to you. You know, it's, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Very much love for you, you know, prayers for you. But also remember that there are people out there, they do love and care for you too, okay? For real. You know, I want you to remember that. Like I said, I can't imagine. I'm not even going to pretend that I can. But in that, you know, like I said, you know that people are out there. They do love and they do care for you. We all do too. And if you get to that point, you need to talk to somebody because of this stuff. Remember, professional out there too. You can talk to one of those. And sometimes you need that. And it's okay to need to talk to somebody like a professional. But love to you. again. And there is one other person. Give me 1 second here. Hey, what's up, Sheila? Thank you for the 10 there, too. Great stream tonight. Happy Valentine's Day to you and the girls. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I figured with a holiday weekend on top of everything and these new changes, but we pulled right at 2,000. That's pretty damn good for Fridays. I figure, like I said, anything after, if you pull 1,000 people, you're doing amazing online. And we do well beyond that. But again, support smaller creators for sure. They're going to take a hit. Like I said, they're changing this backdrop again, and it's awful. But anyway, appreciate you folks. I'm going to end here. I haven't looked at who's live. I'll get back to redirecting next week when everything situates. But I believe Jay is supposed to be live. But appreciate y'all. I'm going to end it. Thank you.